Hello, welcome back everybody. I'm so sorry about the delayed start. We had a couple of technical difficulties. I don't actually have my headphones in at the moment. If everything is going according to plan, you should still be able to hear the Pokemon music. I cannot. So let me know if the Pokemon lo-fi is too loud or anything at the moment. Hi, hello, it's good to see all of you. So saved, the answer is saved kind of. Normally I have headphones in, and so my computer lost all Bluetooth functionality suddenly. It was working just fine. I had the stream ready to go. I had the stream prepped. And then all of a sudden, it just stopped showing up the button and it says that I don't have Bluetooth on my computer. So I'm gonna have to do some fixes for it. That being said, hi. It's good to see all of you. Hello to Meek, hello to WW, hello to Dosky, hello to Trash Can Cat Mom, hello to Laz, hello to Scroblo, and then hello to everybody else that has been here. Hello to Kaze, hello to Dolingo Has My Family. Once again, everybody, I am so sorry about the delayed start. Hopefully this is not something that happens again. If the music is too loud, would somebody please let me know, because that is important, that it is not too loud. Also, Janky Hitboxes, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Thank you. Also, hello to Sally Diaz. Welcome on in. Okay, I'm gonna have a little sip of water. Have a nice little sipskis, a nice little drink. And we will be talking about what we will be doing today in just a second. This feels so off, because usually I love listening to the music while I cook, so this is just really different. The vibe is all different now. Okay, so everybody, welcome on in. Again, I apologize for the delayed start. We had a couple of technical difficulties, but we are back now with a bit of a band-aid fix. And today, guys, we will be doing one of my favorite things to do at home. We're going to be doing some Spaetzle, and we'll talk about why we're doing Spaetzle and what exactly even is Spaetzle. To begin with, we're going to be doing Spaetzle with a Chipotle sauce. We're going to be doing a mushroom sauce, so it's going to have mushrooms, it's going to have Chipotles. It's going to be really delicious, really nice and spicy and smoky. And alongside that, we're also going to have a really beautiful cucumber salad. So keeping it really simple, and we'll talk about why we're doing this and what we're doing in just a second. So, guys, we are doing today Spaetzle. Spaetzle, you can always type an exclamation mark menu to take a look at what we're doing. Spaetzle is a German dumpling slash pasta. Not dumpling in, like the stuffed dumpling sense, but dumpling if you think about like the American chicken and dumplings. And so, the beauty of Spaetzle is it is something that has like the texture of a pasta. It's something that has the texture of a dumpling. It takes just a few seconds to really throw together. It's super easy, and it's incredibly customizable. Spaetzle traditionally comes from German cooking. It comes from German cuisine, and you serve it with sauces, and you can serve it with cheese, and you can serve it with meat. But the beauty of Spaetzle is, first of all, just how easy it is to do at home. One of my biggest frustrations with making homemade pasta is rolling out the pasta. Of course, you have to roll it out, you have to go ahead and make a dough, stretch it out, cut it, and it's a huge headache. The beauty of Spaetzle is that it is not a dough as much as it is actually a batter. So we're going to have this wet batter that we're going to be passing through a special tool, a little Spaetzle tool that kind of looks like a cheese grater over boiling water. So once we make this batter, we're going to be putting it through this. And so, one of the really fun parts about Spaetzle is I consider it incredibly customizable. First of all, it's a batter. The ratios aren't super exact. And the second thing that's really important to know about it is we can kind of season it and do what we want with it. And specifically today, my idea was to do an herb Spaetzle. And so what I really want to do is I want to go ahead and do our classic blanch and blend method with our herbs. So I have some lovely parsley that I bought that's also going to go into the mushroom sauce. But this parsley, we're going to do the blanch method, and we'll talk about why we're doing it. Is everybody paying attention? I want to hear the nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching. Please and thank you. So we have some parsley, and right, in the spirit of the chipotles that we had from before, we also have some cilantro, guys. We have some beautiful, lovely fresh cilantro, which is going to go into the Spaetzle and then also into the final mushroom sauce as well. So it's going to have a lot of herbs, a lot of greenery. It's a really nice way of using up a bunch of herbs. This is something I've been experimenting a lot with lately, the whole like blanching and blending herbs. It's really pleasant. Let's talk about some of the vegetables right here, guys. I have a big, beautiful plate of a bunch of white button mushrooms. We also have some lovely cucumbers here. And so the cucumbers will, of course, be made into the cucumber salad. I love having a cucumber salad just sort of chill out in the fridge. It's something that can last quite some time and is just like always really pleasant to pick up and eat. Okay, so that's that. We have some chicken stock, and excuse me, the chicken stock is going to be going towards the sauce. And the beauty of this chicken stock, guys, is a couple of things. First of all, it might look a little bit runny now, but because of the fact that this was indeed a homemade stock, it is full of gelatin. Once we reduce this stock, once we reduce it, we will be effectively concentrating all of the gelatin from the stock into a much more concentrated, dense, viscous, really, really rich, beautiful sauce. So we're going to need a bunch of chicken stock, evaporate a whole bunch of it, and then we're going to get a really, really velvety, delicious sauce that way. We have some shallots as well. I love having shallots, especially in a sauce. Shallots, they contribute a really nice aromatic sweetness, really nice aromatic allium quality, really nice sweetness, and so you can't go wrong with a little bit of shallot. And so, what we have to do is we have to blanch the herbs, we have to blend them down, we're going to make the batter for the Spaetzle, which again is super, super easy, super consistent to do at home. And then we're going to let that rest, we're going to be working on the sauce, and we'll make the cucumber salad, and I don't know if I've decided yet if I want to do the sauteed mushrooms separately, or I wanted to have a mushroom sauce. So we can always decide that as we're going. I wanted to do like another component, just so that we have something else to do. So what do you guys think? Do you think we're feeling like a mushroom sauce? Right, like a mushroom chipotle sauce? Ooh, let's talk about the chipotles really quickly as well, actually. I still have them in my fridge. I opened up a lovely can of chipotles, and so that's what I have here. Chipotle is really, really delicious, right? So what we're doing today, we're taking a lot of inspiration from, of course, like German techniques here, but we are using a lot of Mexican ingredients. Specifically, we have the chipotles and the cilantro. The chipotle is really, really smoky. These are chipotles packed in adobo. Smoky, spicy, acidic, really so much flavor. And so we're going to get a really, really beautiful sauce out of this as well. So guys, we have quite a lot to get done today. For those of you that haven't already done so, I really recommend that you check out my Patreon. You can type in exclamation mark Patreon, excuse me, or just scroll down and go into the About section if you'd like to support what we do. I would love to be able to do this full time, and of course, any help would be appreciated. And as always, if anybody has any cooking questions, you are encouraged to, ask them away. It can be about this dish, it can be about something else. It is entirely in your ballpark. So, with that being said, is everybody ready to begin? I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching. Please and thank you. That's all of you. If you don't think I'm talking about you, I'm talking about you. So again, I apologize for that bit of a false start. I know we're starting a little bit late today, but it's okay. We'll be able to go ahead and get everything done. So the thing that I want to start with today, guys, is I want to start with making the batter for my Spaetzle. And at its core of Spaetzle batter, I use the America's Like Test Kitchen ratio for it. It's super easy, it's super customizable, and we'll get to that in a second. The first step that we need to do for the Spaetzle, guys, is going to be blanching some herbs. Blanching is a word that you see used in kitchens all the time, and it's not a word that necessarily everybody knows what it means. All that it really means for something to be blanched is for something to essentially be dunked into boiling water for a fairly short amount of time. And so what is the goal here? What is our intention? Well, we want to blanch the herbs for today, and there's a reason for this. If we were just to take raw herbs and put them into a blender, what's going to happen is they're going to eventually oxidize and turn brown and lose a good amount of their flavor. A really beautiful part about blanching, about taking these herbs and first dunking them into the boiling water itself, is that we are sort of deactivating the enzymes that would cause them to oxidize, and we're getting a much more stable product. We're exchanging a little bit of flavor. We lose a little bit of flavor into the water itself in exchange for a lot of stability. So let's go ahead and get our blanching station all set up and ready to go. And as always, guys, the first thing that you're going to need for any blanching station is going to be the shocking station. This is a process that's only going to take, maybe 5 to 10 seconds. All that we really need to be doing here is we need to take the herbs, dunk them into the boiling water itself, okay, dunk them into the boiling water and immediately take them out. And so we want to go ahead and plunge them after they're done cooking into an ice bath. Tarina Chess, you asked me, do onions ever get blanched? I don't think so. I know garlic does. There's like a fairly French restaurant-y kind of dish where it's like a garlic puree. And that is like the one instance where I know that garlic gets specifically blanched, but it's not like blanched, right? They do like several iterations of it. Otherwise, I don't know if onions specifically ever get blanched. So guys, all I'm gonna do here, I'm going to take a nice big block of ice. And as always, if anybody has any cooking questions for me, you are always welcome to go ahead and ask, because I am here to teach you how to cook. So let's go ahead and get a nice big block of ice right into my bowl. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fill this bowl up with some nice cold water. And again, We're doing this so that when we take the leaves out of the boiling water, they do not overcook. If they overcook, they're going to lose and leach a lot of their flavor into the water, and then we would have basically gotten absolutely nothing done. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this and fill this up with some nice cold water. Take it and fill it up. Okay, and that should now be ready to go for us. And so let's talk about the herbs of choice that we're using for this blanching process, guys. Let's go ahead and pull them out one more time. So the entire reason I'm doing this is because, is it storming outside? Oh my God, I think it is. Well, that's annoying. So guys, I have a bunch of cilantro here. Now cilantro, not typically an herb that you find all too often in German food. However, I'm using a lot of other Mexican ingredients, specifically the chipotles, and I thought this would be a really cute way of using up a good amount of cilantro. I'm going to save some for garnishing reasons. So this amount I'm going to save and set aside, and the rest of these are going to go ahead and get plunged into the boiling water itself. And again, the beauty is, we put them in, they soften up, they shrink down a bunch, and we just get them soft enough and we just deactivate them enough that when we blend them, they do not turn brown, that they do not oxidize. Okay, so we're going to do a bunch of that, and then we're also going to do a very nice handful of parsley while we're at it. So guys, a bunch of herbs here, a bunch of herbs ready to go. It is... How bad is it storming outside today? Guys, what is going on? It's like a full-on storm. Oh, that's not good. Sometimes my walls leak. And so, I really, really hope that does not happen today. I don't know if you guys can hear the thunderstorm. Well, if it's storming, oh my God, this is such a headache. This is such a headache, my walls might leak. That would suck. That would be pretty bad. That'd be pretty awful. So hopefully that does not happen again. Well, we'll see. So guys, a bunch of parsley, a bunch of cilantro, boiling water. We got the ice bath ready. So that front is hitting you now. Let me go ahead and check the weather on my handy dandy weather app. Let's see what's the big idea. It's just rain for the next however long, so it's fine. Okay guys, all these herbs, let's go ahead. I get scared of the thunder. What's happening is I do genuinely get scared of the thunder, so I'm trying my best not to get too spooked out by that. Okay guys, let's go ahead and go on over to the boiling water, and of course, the tool that all of you need, for especially blanching. You're going to go ahead and need this bad boy right here. You're going to need a spider. A spider is essentially a strainer on a stick. And the beauty of a spider is that you're able to scoop everything out in one shot. The problem with using a slotted spoon, or the problem with using tongs, is that you're not going to be able to get everything out in one big scoop. Does everybody understand? I want to hear a nice who's on a yes chef. From everybody watching, please and thank you. So, once again, we got a spider ready to go. We have an ice bath ready to go. And all that we're going to do is we're going to submerge the herbs into the boiling water. I know this is a technique that I've been doing a lot lately, but it's also a technique that I just really, really love. This is a very nice way of using up a bunch of herbs, and we're going to be able to integrate so much flavor into our Spaetzle this way, when typically that sort of flavor would be a little bit missing. Right? So guys, all I'm going to do, and we're going to count together, ready? We're going to count 15, or even 10 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi. And just like that, guys, we're going to go ahead and just scoop all of them out in one big shot, and that is all of the blanching that they're going to need. Oh my God. Guys, that storm, that is spooky. And into the ice bath. And the thing that you immediately want to do, guys, when we go into the ice bath, you want to make sure that you're breaking up this cluster. You want to break it up because it's almost like a mop. It's almost like a mop, and it's holding onto all of that boiling water, right? Because it has so much surface area, so you really want to break up this cluster and make sure that there's no hot water remaining. The key is to not overcook these herbs. Once they're overcooked, it's over and they would have lost a bunch of their flavor. And so the water is always going to turn a little bit green. But guys, guess what? This water is staying nice and clear. It's staying just nice and clean. That's a good indication that we did not overcook the blanched herbs for today. And that's it. That's all that we have to do. I'm going to go ahead and just throw a lid onto this pot because we no longer need it until it's actually time for us to properly boil the Spaetzle. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside a little bit. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me in the meantime? Let's go ahead and begin Tomato may be a little bad taste. We're going to go ahead and just put these herbs behind me because we're not going to need them for a little bit. And in the meantime, guys, we can go ahead and prepare. While this is sort of chilling out, we're going to get the blending station ready. We're also going to get the station to actually make the Spaetzle batter. And again, the beauty of a Spaetzle batter is that it is super, super easy to throw together. The proportions are really simple. What I do is 3/4 of a cup of milk, 3 eggs, 2 cups of flour. This is the ratio that I took from America's Test Kitchen. And what's really, really nice about Spaetzle is you genuinely have a lot of creativity and you have a lot of room to sort of make it yourself. Okay, and so here's all that we're going to do together, guys. We're going to get a nice big bowl. You want to make sure that your bowl is slightly too big, okay, so that it's able to then compensate for the size of the utensils that you'll actually be mixing into it. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and grab some just plain all-purpose flour. That's what I'll be using for today. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a measuring cup, and I'm going to need for today 2 cups of all-purpose flour. 2 cups of all-purpose flour is going to make a very considerable amount of Spaetzle. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that started. Let's get that in now. And traditionally, the very German way of seasoning it would be with some nutmeg. I'm not going to opt for nutmeg today. Guys, I don't have the Pokemon Lo-Fi playing, and it's like kind of spooky out right now. I'm a little thrown off. I'm genuinely a little teeny tiny bit thrown off. I hope it's all gonna turn out to be okay. Best flower, you ask me, Duolingo? Like flower as in like a plant? My favorite flower? I mean, I like roses. Might be a little bit basic, but I just like it because it's red. Okay, little frazzled. That's okay. Happens to the best of us, guys. So, and again, the beauty of a batter is that these ratios aren't super precise either. Some days you're going to have to actually adjust for the viscosity. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to level out a cup of flour here. Right? Get it into my bowl. That's 1 of those bad boys. And that is 2 of those bad boys. Lovely. Okay? 2 cups of flour. I'm just going directly inside, and we're still going to need this measuring cup for a little bit. I'm going to show you exactly what we do with it. And guys, we are separating the dry and the wet ingredients. And the idea is this. The number 1 mistake that you can make with the Spaetzle is once you add liquid to the flour, you can easily overmix it. You can get a Spaetzle that's too tough by overmixing the gluten. The entire idea is we're barely going to combine this until it basically becomes a batter. You can mix the flour all you want before the presence of the moisture. And so that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We're going to go in here, guys, with a nice generous pinch of salt. Even though the sauce is going to be salty, I like having my Spaetzle itself be a little seasoned. A little bit of salt. Do I have any black pepper in here? I surely do. Let's go ahead and get a bunch of black pepper inside as well. Okie dokie. And does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? I know today has all kinds of problems, right? We had the technological difficulties. We're having a storm outside at the moment. There's no Pokemon music in my ears. So, a bunch of black pepper going in. And now, guys, we're just going to go ahead and whisk this together just to make sure that we have no lumps, that we have no pockets, of salt. We just want to make sure that the seasoning is all evenly incorporated. Okay, so something like that. And it'll just take a second of just putting it together. So go thoroughly, break up all the little tiny clusters. You can also sift your flour if you'd really like to. I feel like a whisk essentially does the same exact job. Okay, I love making Spaetzle at home again because it's sort of giving me that fix. It's giving me like that fresh pasta kick. Except it's a lot more viable inside of a home setting. You don't have to rest the dough past 15 minutes. You don't have to roll anything out. I am a firm hater of needing to roll out dough. I think rolling out dough is an incredible waste of time, and it just makes a massive mess. And so aside from a novelty, that's not something that I ever feel like I can really commit to doing in a home setting. So guys, that's my seasoned flour ready to go. I'm just going to go ahead and set that aside. And now we're going to need to measure out a little bit of milk. So we're actually going to do the milk in my blender cup, and there's a very specific reason for this. We're doing the milk in the blender cup so that we can use that as the liquid base with which to then blend down the herbs. So I'm gonna go ahead and just set that aside. Lovely, just set that behind me for now. And we need roughly 3/4 of a cup of whole milk here, guys. Also, hi Annie, welcome on in. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Let's go ahead and get some nice, fresh, whole milk. I love milk so much. I really can't live without it. Okay. So guys, we're going to go in with roughly 3/4 cup of milk. I'm using a whole cup measure here because again, it just does not really matter that much. And oftentimes I find that I want my Spaetzle batter a little bit wetter. Anyways, so again, I'm approximating this. This is another reason why I think this is really such an ideal home recipe. This is not the kind of a dish that needs ultra precise measurements where you need to be weighing out your ingredients, right? This is incredibly entirely by feel, and if you mess it up a little bit, it's still going to be okay. It's boiled dough. It's a Spaetzle. Okay? It is the food of the people. This was not something that was ever equally measured. I don't want you using a scale. I don't want you doing any nonsense like that. Okay? Even with the measuring cup, I was kind of half-assing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the flour away because we no longer need it in the moment. And now guys, we're going to go ahead and get our herb milk to sort of then integrate into the batter itself. So let's go ahead and get that going. We have these beautifully blanched herbs, guys. And all that we're going to need to do here is we're just going to go ahead and squeeze them of all of that excess moisture. We don't need all of that excess moisture that they would otherwise just be introducing. Also, Scrublo, hello, hello. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. So guys, all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab a little glove just to make my life a bit easier. I'm going to take all of my herbs right here. Right, this is my cilantro and my parsley. All of it has now been cooked down, and now I'm just squeezing out all of that excess moisture that I have nothing to do with. Okay, all the excess moisture out it goes. Just ball it up, and now it's going to be time for us to blend it. You don't want to squeeze it too hard or anything because then you do end up losing some of the flavor, some of the nutritional value, but it's not that big of a deal. So guys, all of my cilantro, all of my parsley, let's go ahead and get that into my blender cup now. And let's get my blender station all set up. Let's head on over to the stove. And let's set up just something nice and flat, just like this, and grab my blender. Let's go ahead and make this, just get it all processed. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for me at the moment? All we're doing right now, guys, we're going to build this really, really beautiful, like green Spaetzle batter, right? It's going to dye green, it's going to be herbaceous, it's going to be full of a lot of flavor. Take it and blend it. That's it. That's all that there really is to it. It's getting nice and green, getting nice and beautiful. It's almost done. And again, by first blanching the herbs separately, what we have achieved is something that's just going to be able to hold up a lot better to blending. If we didn't first actually end up blanching it, by the time that we would have blended it, we would have ended up risking oxidizing the herbs ever so slightly. So it's a very light green. I could have probably done with a few more herbs for today. That was a fairly conservative amount. I probably could have blanched a few more, but that's okay, that's fine. And all we were really looking to accomplish here, guys, was to get all the little bits processed. So let's head back over here. Let's go ahead and get everything going with my Spaetzle batter now. The last thing that we actually have to do for these, though, is we need to go ahead and break up some eggs. I think I could probably get away with beating my eggs inside of the blender. I think that would be fine. I don't think I want to get like a separate, because I already have the blender out and I already have the blender going. I may as well just get that done inside, so it'll be fine. And we're going to need about, what do we need? We need like 3 cups. Yeah, 3 eggs, excuse me. Not 3 cups of egg. That sounds like a lot of egg. So let's go ahead. Guys, nice flat surface. And then we're going to pick it up and, ooh, whoa, hello. There we go. And just open it up right inside. Hopefully we won't get any of the shells in. That would kind of suck. What would be good form? You know what, let me show off some good form for once, guys. What would be good form would be first cracking it into a separate vessel to make sure that you don't accidentally contaminate the rest of it with the eggshell, because then it becomes a massive headache. So we're going to get 1 more cup dirty, but in exchange, we mitigate a significant amount of risk here. And so now we take it, we inspect it, right? That looks nice and devoid of any eggshell whatsoever. Let's go ahead and get that into my blender cup. And let's go ahead and do the same thing with the third and final one. And again, I like pre-mixing all of my ingredients so that when it actually goes into the batter itself, it takes minimal mixing. If we over-mix the batter, we'll end up getting one that's a little bit too tough and a Spaetzle to be a little bit too tough and chewy. The entire idea is once we add in the liquid, once we add the liquid component to the flour itself, it takes minimal mixing. And so that's just going to be it. That's going to be 3 eggs inside. Beautiful. We crack them on a flat edge because cracking them on a corner, Duolingo, I believe, asked that, right? If you crack the eggs on a corner, it does tend to fragment the shells a little bit more. And just kind of pushes in like little teeny tiny pieces inside. So over a nice flat surface, you know, it's fine if you do it on a corner. On a nice flat surface, it tends to be a little less fragmented. So guys, we're going to go back on over to the blender, and now we're just going to go ahead and pulse this. I dropped some on the ground. We're just going to get this until the egg whites and the egg yolks are all nicely, thoroughly, and beautifully combined. Does anybody have any questions for me at the moment? Okay. And this really takes no time at all, honestly. I just wanted to do it enough that I feel like there's no streaks of egg white, there's no streaks of egg yolk. I feel like this could be done a little bit more. We have a lovely little smoothie. Delicious. Okay. And guys, right here, this is going to be the mixture that is then going to go ahead and go into the batter. This is a combined milk, our blended up herbs, and our eggs. So let's go ahead and go back on over to the seasoned flour, and let's get this bad boy done once and for all. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this little plate. And we're gonna go on over to the flour that once again we've had measured out already. And so guys, again, this is something that I think everybody should be doing at home. Spaetzle is super easy, it's super consistent, and it is the kind of a thing that is ideal in a home setting, in a home environment. Best Spaetzle tool substitute. So Tarina, there's 3 separate Spaetzle tools that people use. First of all, there's this one right here that I have, which is almost like a cheese grater, right? Where it pushes the batter through all these little holes. Then there is one that almost looks like a garlic press, where it extrudes it. If you don't have any equipment, there is a hand-cut version. I think the proportions for it might be a little bit different, but it's basically where you have a cutting board and a knife, and you're just scooping it into the pot. I think that's a lot of effort. I don't want to do that. If you really want to make Spaetzle without a Spaetzle tool, be my guest, do that. I would highly recommend one of these Spaetzle tools that I just mentioned. So we're not really going to need a whisk for this stage at all, because this is again going to be a fairly thick batter. Also, hi Holken, welcome on in. So again, I'm just whisking in the salt and the pepper that was there before. And now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Mr. Whisk. He has done a wonderful job for us today. And now let's go on over to a silicone spatula that I have ready to go. Lovely. And all that we're going to do, guys, is we're just going to go ahead and gently, and I do mean gently, mix it in. Can I please get a yes, chef? And the reason we need to gently mix this in is because if we are too aggressive and we mix this too thoroughly, we're going to get a batter that is too tough because we're developing the gluten when we add something wet into the dough, into the batter. Okay, so just to open this up, this, guys, is my beaten egg whites, my beaten egg yolks, my milk. All right, everything in here all together nice and beautiful. It foamed up a little bit because I assume it picked up some air. I could have probably blended it a lot less aggressively. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and pour it all in nice and gently, but it really doesn't matter. I just go in all at once. Okay, so all in, everything inside, beautiful and ready to go. And guys, again, we have this lovely light green shade at the moment because we added in a bunch of those blended in herbs. Okay, we add it in, and all we're really looking to do, guys, is just to get this batter incorporated enough that we don't have any massive lumps. It's okay for you to have some little lumps, right? So same exact idea with a pancake batter, because if you mix it until it has absolutely no lumps whatsoever, that's a pretty good indication that you've over mixed it. So we're scraping down the sides, we're getting all those little dry pockets of flour thoroughly incorporated, and so you'll see the kind of texture and viscosity that I'm looking for. We're just looking for something loose enough that it can pass through the grater, but not so loose that it's watery. And we're not looking for something that is so thick that it looks like a bread dough. Okay, so take it and mix it around, guys, and mix it and whip it until it's all just barely come together and you don't see any, like you see, we still have some like dry pockets of flour. That's all. Ooh, I'm looking to really avoid here. So just keep mixing it, keep mixing it, keep mixing it all the way around. Pick it up, put it back down. And this is a very, very good texture that we have here at the moment, guys. This is going to need to, after we're done mixing it, it's going to need to sit for about 15 minutes or so. I still have some residual liquid. So just go ahead and get all that inside. It's going to need to sit for 15 minutes just to make sure that the flour can fully hydrate. And we're just about ready to go, guys. That is all of the effort a batter like this needs. Did you see how effortless that was? Do you see how quickly this came together? This isn't a pasta dough. This isn't a pasta dough where we had to knead it and knead it and knead it and we had to let it sit and then roll it out. That is the extent of the effort that we actually needed for this really, really lovely, super simple Spaetzle batter. And this entire blanching step that I did with the herbs in of itself also not particularly necessary. I was doing that to show off how to make a really beautiful herb Spaetzle. A basic one doesn't even demand that. It's so simple, guys. 2 cups of flour, 3 eggs, 3/4 of a cup of milk. If it looks too thick, add in a little bit of milk. That's all that it takes. And then you get this really, really beautiful batter. I'm just continuing to mix it even though I probably shouldn't because it's just so much fun. Okay. But just go ahead and just scrape off the sides, just make sure that nothing is going to dry out there, and that's it. And when this goes into the boiling water itself, guys, it's going to be lovely. It's going to give us some really, really beautiful Spaetzle. That is just how simple it is. And again, you're not really looking to get rid of all of the little tiny lumps from this. It is okay, it's going to happen. It's just going to hydrate and be beautiful. Okay, that is a beautiful looking Spaetzle batter. That is all that you needed to do for it. Does everybody understand? I want to get a nice yasha. If people want fresh pasta at home, this is the thing that I recommend people to start looking into boiled dumplings before, starting, the whole process of getting a pasta cutter and all these other things. Okay, so that's just about enough effort for that. All that we need to do now, guys, is we're going to go ahead and cover the whole thing up with some plastic wrap. So let's go ahead and get that done right now. Oh, no, wait, did I run out of plastic wrap? Please do not tell me that I ran out of plastic wrap. Chat. My little sous chefs, we did not run out of plastic wrap, did we? Oh, this is a headache. Uh-oh. Oh no. I don't particularly, it's shoved all the way back behind my fridge. It is all the way back behind my fridge. Okay. Ugh. I'm going to have to go ahead and grab it somehow. I knew that we had some. And have some, we did indeed. I have to get on a step stool. Because oh no, I'm so petite. I'm 5'5.5". It's so difficult being 5'5". Anyhow. Oh, I'm so small. People say whenever I post a selfie on Twitter. Whatever. Guys, we go ahead and we grab some of the plastic wrap. And why do we need the plastic wrap? We need the plastic wrap that while this batter just sort of rests and chills out for a little bit, we need to make sure that it doesn't dry because of course it is flour based, right? The top of it is just gonna end up drying out. And so the plastic wrap is a very nice way of mitigating that from ever happening. We're still going to be using this spatula a little bit later on. So I'm just going to also have it chill out in this thing. Okay, so, I'm trying to get this plastic wrap all open. Okay, I give up on this one. Next batch of plastic wrap, please and thank you. Again, why are we doing this? We're doing this so that my lovely Spaetzle batter doesn't dry out. And this is such a nice, guys, do you see the creative potential that you have? So I showed off what you could do with, cilantro and parsley. You could do the same exact technique using a little bit of spinach. You could do the same exact technique with some basil instead, in regards to blanching it and blending it in. You could experiment with different kinds of liquid and different kinds of flavoring. Maybe, we could do a Spaetzle with a little bit of chicken stock instead sometime, right? The point is, with something like a Spaetzle batter, because it is fundamentally conceptually so simple, there is so much creativity that you, as a little home chef, that's you, can actually have with making this. It's so modular, it has so much room for improvement. I consider the Spaetzle almost like a blank slate. The kind of sauce that you choose to serve it with, the kind of ingredients that actually go into the batter itself. Now, all I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to just take a second and clean up a couple of things. Does it have to be an herb Duolingo? I mean, The reason why I chose an herb is because I have some that I wanted to get rid of, and because it stains the whole thing green. As for other mix-ins, like, I don't know, I'm thinking like onion or something, I'd imagine that throws the ratio of it a little bit off, so I wouldn't do something like that. But literally, experiment and figure it out. And also, you can Google and see what other people have done in the past similarly. Okay. Once again, guys, I'm just taking a second to clean up because this is a home cooking show after all, and thus we have to clean as we go. I'm going to go ahead and set my lovely, beautiful Spaetzle batter behind me, and that is just going to chill out until we're ready to use it. All we're really looking to do at this stage, guys, is just to hydrate the flour. We mixed it in, and now the second step is the hydration element. And as it hydrates, we're going to lose a couple of the lumps of flour. Could we use stock and not milk? Serena, I've not made a Spaetzle with stock and not milk. You can go ahead and absolutely look it up. What I would do is have a super concentrated stock so that then you could swap it out with some milk. So I would reduce a bunch of stock. That is what I would do. That is the approach that I would have. Okay. And let's just go ahead and get rid of this little blender cup. We have no more use for it. It did a wonderful job for us. Excellent. Into the dishwasher that all goes. Gorgeous. Actually, I might still use the blender itself for one more thing later on, once we do the chipotles. If I can just find my other, I have like a second blender cup, and I did find it. So I would need to probably just wash out my blade itself because it was handling some eggs. Will I record this / will this episode be available to watch later? Yes, that's to me. Everything goes onto the YouTube VOD channel. Also, Jack, no worries at all. Welcome on in, Jack. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. So guys, we did find a little teeny tiny blender cup. Okay, so let's talk about what else we need to actually get done. What we have done is we've accomplished the Spaetzle batter itself. Then we're going to have to work on the sauce. I have not really entirely yet decided how I want to do the sauce, because originally I was going to have separately sauteed mushrooms and sauce. Do I know how to make eggs? I absolutely know how to make eggs, Enigma. So I originally wanted to separately do the sauteed mushrooms and then the sauce, and I think that's actually still where I'm leaning. What I really want to do is I just want to have some like sauteed mushrooms that I can easily reheat tomorrow, or maybe put them into like an omelet for like a little lunch for myself, and thus separately sauteed mushroom would be a good start. Let's talk about the sauce that I want to make today in the meantime though. So guys, today's sauce is going to be based off of this guy right here. I have a huge thing of some homemade chicken stock, and I want you all to pay attention to something. So again, this might seem like a bit of a beginner cooking question, but how many of you have seen a chilled stock or broth turn almost like jello? And how many of you have seen it almost turn watery and loose? Like, have you guys like observed that different stocks are more jiggly than others, right? Some of them are more firm than others. And the reason that happens is purely because of the concentration of gelatin relative to the amount of water. So let me explain to you guys some stocks 101. Okay, some stock and gelatin 101. Here's what happens when you're making a meat-based stock. The bones, they're covered in a little bit of connective tissue. The connective tissue and other parts of the bone, it has collagen. Collagen, when heated enough, becomes water soluble in the form of gelatin. Right? When you heat bones enough, when you heat connective tissue enough, when you heat collagen enough, it turns into gelatin. And that gelatin is then water soluble, and then you get your meat stock, right? You get your broth, as well as like other flavors. But the real main mechanism here is the gelatin. And so that gelatin, the more gelatin there is relative to the water, the more jiggly and the more thick it's going to be. As you guys can tell, while this has some amount of jiggle to it, this is a fairly watery stock. This is a chicken stock that I made with 2 quarts of water to 1 chicken carcass. It's not a lot of bones. And so what we will do is we will end up reducing this stock. We're going to evaporate the excess liquid, keep all of that gelatin inside, and that gelatin naturally, even when hot, is going to give us a lovely syrupy texture to the stock. So Genesis, Spaetzle is a German dumpling. It's almost like a pasta. So dumpling not in like a stuffed sense, not like a, like a Chinese dumpling, but like a chicken and dumplings. And the batter for it is right here and it's chilling out. So this will be plunged into boiling water. So guys, the goal with this chicken stock is to get that processed enough and cooked down enough that it will then thicken it. Chef, it might be just me, but the music is too loud. No, Jack, that is 100% reasonable to point out. My headphones are broken today, and I am not able to actually hear it. We had a problem with the Bluetooth connection today. My entire computer's Bluetooth exploded, so let me know if that is okay, and we can go ahead and adjust. I don't know if that's still too loud. Chat, what do we think? Is that too loud? Is that too quiet? What is it at the moment? Maybe a little bit more. It's good? Okay. Well, let's leave it at this for now. Again, I apologize for that. So, guys, we have all of this lovely chicken stock here, and we're going to need to reduce it. Let's actually go ahead and get my blender tool. I'm just going to go ahead and rinse that off because we'll be doing the chipotles in there. And we'll talk about the chipotles and adobo in just a second. Okay, there you go. That's now officially rinsed off slightly. It's all gonna get cooked down anyways, so that seems okay. Okie dokie. So guys, why am I doing this sauce? This might seem a little bit odd to some people, right? Why am I doing a chipotle sauce with some Spaetzle? And the reality is this: while Spaetzle might be a traditionally German dish, I consider it almost like a blank slate. If you guys think about it, at its core, a Spaetzle, flour, eggs, milk. There is nothing about that entire composition that makes it innately German. And so we blended in some parsley and some cilantro in there. We got some fresh herbs. We can use it as a blank slate. I consider the same thing with pasta all the time. One of my favorite things to do with like leftover salsas is to turn a leftover salsa into like a sauce, for some pasta, right? You can absolutely do that. You can absolutely break conventions. So all we're going to do, guys, is we're going to once again just blend down my chipotles in adobo. So let me just go ahead and get rid of this chicken stock because we're not going to need this immediately. Just set that bad boy behind me. And now let's talk about one of my favorite ingredients. Once again, guys, is these chipotles in adobo. These guys come in a can. These aren't the dried chipotles. They're packed in like this vinegar sauce. They're spicy, they're smoky, they're really, really delicious. And this is what I wanted to be sort of like the highlight, the star of the sauce today. So all we're going to do, we don't really need much of the adobo sauce itself. I'm gonna keep it just in case. An adobo sauce, by the way, means a lot of different things in different cultures. In this case, it's just like a vinegar-based sauce. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of the chipotles and I'm going to just drop it into my blender cup. And again, I might not need all of the adobo sauce, so I'll just leave it in here, although it's a fairly, marginal amount. And all I'm going to do, guys, is we're just going to blend up the chipotle, get a little chipotle paste, and this is going to then finish the sauce that we're doing today. So let's go ahead and go back on over to the stove and get all of this properly blended up. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything. The only thing I'm really looking to do, guys, is I'm looking to break down the seeds. I'm looking to make sure that I have like no massive chunks of chipotle in there or anything. And let's just go take a little look at it. How's it looking? It's a little too thick for it to blend properly. Originally, I wanted to do a chipotle cream sauce. I made a really, really stupid mistake today, and I bought half and half. I don't know if you guys have done this at some point where you needed heavy whipping cream. I bought a little bit of half and half instead of that. So that's on me. So this is going to be mostly, we might need to thicken the sauce with the starch at the end of it. This is not going to be a heavy cream thickened sauce, so I do apologize for that. Let's just go ahead and get a little splash or two of half and half inside and just get that all nicely blended up. And this is going to be the thing that we finish our lovely sauce with. I just wanted to get that done out of the way. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me in the meantime? So let's get all of that blended up. Beautiful. And we'll give it a little shake. Jack, you asked me what starch, but I use corn or potato. So different starches, they do like gelatinize and thicken things a little bit differently. But in my case, I'm going to be using a corn starch because that is all I have at home. And so I'm going to just go ahead and get my chipotles back on one more time after a little shake. Just to make sure that the whole thing is fully processed. So what does chipotle sauce taste like? Well, Chipotle is a little Mmph. Chipotles are really, really smoky. So we need to talk about this really quickly. We need to talk about Mexican cooking. In Mexican cooking, one of the most beautiful things is that there is a very large variety of different chilies that are used. Chipotle specifically refer to a type of chili that is dried and smoked. And so that is that like if you ever eat like Mexican food and it's like profoundly smoky, typically the chili that makes it that smoky is the addition of some chipotle. So guys, this is going to be the chipotle base right here that we're going to add towards the end of the sauce itself. I was a little bit nervous to actually blend this with half and half because I was worried the acidity might split it, but it looks nice and beautiful and orange. So it's going to be really, really smoky, and it's going to be really, really spicy. And so the rest of it is just going to be creamy. We're just going to be cooking a bunch of stuff down. It's going to be nice and delicious. So guys, that is going to be the base that we're going to be using a little bit later on. We don't really have to worry about this too much in the meantime. And I'm just going to go ahead and just set this bad boy aside. Okay, let's go ahead and get the rest of the prep done for the sauce. So what do we need to do? I wanted to get a shallot into the sauce. So let's go ahead and get that bad boy prepped up now. So this, my friends, is a humble shallot. You can theoretically use any kind of allium that you would like. You can use an onion, you can use a leek for this, but the reason why shallots, especially in a lot of French cooking, are prized for their ability in a sauce is because shallots are exceptionally aromatic. And so, the way that we cut this is actually really, really important. So I'm gonna need everybody to tap in. Is everybody listening? I wanna hear a nice yes, chef, please and thank you. So let's talk about this really quickly. The way that you cut an allium, especially for a sauce, is essential. If we keep the, let's say we just chop it up, nice big chunks, when we cook it into a pan, what's going to happen is the shallot is not really going to contribute any flavor whatsoever into the sauce. We'll have nice big pieces of shallot, but they won't essentially melt in. The finer that we actually end up dicing our allium, okay, the finer we're not going to be able to feel the pieces of it, but we'll be able to thoroughly taste it in the sauce itself. With enough cooking, even big chunks will be able to contribute some flavor. But guys, again, the key, small chunks here, okay? So we first slice the head off, we keep the root intact, then we just slice it down the middle, and then we go ahead and we peel up the dry, like you see how this layer is a little bit dry? We're just going to go ahead and peel and get rid of this layer of the shallot itself. Shallots, again, everybody needs to get comfortable using shallots. This is one of my favorite alliums in a home setting. Let's go ahead and open up each of my lovely little shallots, and I think I'm gonna glove up for this, just so that I get to protect my dainty little hands. Just wash them off really quick. Beautiful, okay. And let's dry my hands off. So again, we're looking for a super fine dice on this. And now, some of you may be asking me, well, if we're trying to get a fine dice on this, can we just use a food processor? Can we just use a blender to do that instead? Why don't we just get a shallot paste instead? And there's a very specific answer for that. A knife is nice and sharp. Even with getting super tiny small cubes, the shallot won't release so much liquid that it'll sort of like stick and burn to the bottom, and we'll be able to get some really nice color on it. By mashing it and using a food processor and using a blender or a grater or something, we would get a product that's so wet, leaches out all of its sugary liquid, the sugary liquid sticks and burns at the bottom, and we're not able to actually properly build up any amount of color on the shallot itself. A knife is just delicate enough that we don't end up over processing anything. Does that make sense? Is there anybody that's sort of confused by that and why I'm not choosing to do it? And also, I feel like it is a little bit silly to get out like an entire food processor for one shallot. And again, theoretically you can. Your sauce is not going to be ruined if you use a food processor for it. Would the same logic go for fresh garlic versus jarred garlic? Janky Hitbox says yes, because jarred garlic is stored in a liquid. You're not going to be able to properly brown it. The longer that a vegetable has been sort of sit exposed and cut, the more water it ends up sort of pushing out of it. It does not saute nearly as well. With garlic, it's different because you're not really looking to deeply brown it, but I don't love jarred garlic for that similar reason. So guys, we need to fan the shallot out. So all that we need to do, we're going to go down and we're going to make a bunch of parallel incisions, as thin and as close to each other as you can. We're building the shallot fan. The shallot fan, guys. We're going to fan this lovely little shallot out. Okay, and you can just go ahead and take a look. Right, nice and close, nice and thin. And probably just one more incision down here. And now guys, that we have made all of these lovely little incisions, all we have to do is just cut as thin as possible, perpendicular to all of the shallots. And that way we get these super fine shallots, beautifully cut, that will then melt into your sauce. Does anybody have any questions? So let's get all of that done and processed. There you go. That's that bad boy. And let's go ahead and discard the bottom of it. And once again, guys, we're using one of my favorite tools in the kitchen, a handy dandy little bench scraper. Bench scraper is just going to do a really nice job of picking everything up, and we'll just put it into the bowl. We want to make sure that we're keeping our station nice and clean, and let's do the same exact thing to this other half a shallot. We don't need a super large amount of onions. We're not using like a small onion, we're using just one shallot. Probably half a shallot would have also been enough. How do you cut it so it doesn't all move around? Jack, I'm not sure what moving around you're referring to in the moment. Can you make your question a little bit more specific, please? So guys, once again, we take it and we're holding it down and we're fanning it out nice and thin, nice thin slices all the way through. Okay, all the way through, beautiful. And once again, we take our shallot fan and dice it, nice and fine. Nice and fine so it beautifully melts into the sauce. Really, really, really fine. A lot finer than you think. If you think it's a small dice, I promise you it is not fine enough. It wants to be so fine, so gentle, so delicate, everybody. Okay? So that looks just about good for me. Okay? And let's go ahead and get rid of the bottom of the shallot. We got a couple of big pieces. And again, it's fine if you do have a couple of chunks, but again, we're really, really looking for it to become one with the sauce today. And let's pick up all of my lovely little shallots. Get them into the bowl, into my transfer bowl that will then go onto the pan. Clean up my station and get rid of all of these little teeny tiny bits. My onions usually split and won't stay compact. I'm really bad at cutting it so small as you do it. What do you mean they split? I'm just confused with what you're saying, Jack. I'm not sure what you mean they split. So take a look. Nice, beautiful, fine shallots. And guys, we're going to start heating up a pan. So the order of operations for the sauce is as follows. The first thing that we want to do is we want to saute the shallots. We're not looking for like a deep, nutty flavor out of them, but we're looking to caramelize them a little bit and really build up some of that sweetness. Then, once that sweetness has been built up, we'll deglaze it with some nice white wine. We'll reduce the white wine until it's basically like a syrup, and then we'll pour in a bunch of the chicken stock, and we'll reduce the chicken stock into a syrup. This process is going to take a considerable amount of time. So let's go ahead and get a jump start on this now. I don't know how long all of that chicken stock is going to take to properly reduce. It may be some time. So let's go ahead and get that started. And guys, with sauces, I really, really do like starting them on a saute pan like this. And there's a very specific reason why. Because of the fact that we'll be looking to reduce the both the wine and the chicken stock as well. The beauty of a saute pan is that we have a lot of additional surface area. That additional surface area, once we crank up the heat, is going to allow us to evaporate more of the stock at once. Okay, next thing that we have to keep in mind, next thing that we have to keep into consideration, we need to saute these shallots. This is a basic stainless steel pan. We don't blast, everybody take notes, I want to hear the nice yes chef, please and thank you. We do not take this and we do not blast it on a high heat. If you take a stainless steel pan and blast it on a high heat and you think it's heated up, you would have developed hot spots and cool spots. To properly and beautifully heat up a stainless steel pan, you heat it up nice and low and slow on a medium-low heat. Okay, that's all that it's gotta take. So let me go ahead and have a nice little sip of water. Okay, so what are we looking for? What kind of fat do we actually want? Is my music a little louder than normal? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fix that again. If my music is a little louder than normal, that's not what I'm really looking for. I don't know, wait, did that just do anything? Did that fix anything? It doesn't look like it worked. That's weird. I don't know if that worked. Anyhow, I think that made it louder. What? Okay, you know what? I'm just going to turn it down on that thingy. I'm going to turn it down separately. And now hopefully it's still like a little bit audible. I don't know. My whole Bluetooth devices today, they all broke. I'm doing this stream without headphones, so I can't hear the music actively at the moment. Okay. So guys, saute pan, heating it up, nice low medium heat. Let's talk about the fat that we're using. And the fat is super, super important. The fat that we're using is really, really important because it's going to go into the sauce itself. All of the fat is going to go into the sauce. The fat is as much of an ingredient as everything else is. I think the music is too quiet now. I don't know, guys, you tell me, please. And so, Well, we're looking to get a bit of butter inside of the pan. We're looking to get a little bit of olive oil inside of the pan. I don't want to use something like canola oil. I don't want to use something like vegetable oil. I'm not looking to use something like peanut oil because none of those are what I would consider tasty fats. Ideally, I love animal fats. I love olive oil. I love butter. None of those oils will be particularly delicious, the canola oil, in the final product of the sauce itself. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to get a bit of butter inside. And we don't need too much butter. We're going to maybe get like, well, because I'm not using the heavy cream today, actually, we might just end up using a greater quantity of butter than normal. Yeah, I'm actually feeling like a generous amount of butter today. I'm talking like 2 tablespoons of butter, that kind of thing. So, Jack, you're saying the onion falls apart when I cut into it. How does he do it so it doesn't scatter? Well, this is a pretty difficult question because I'm trying to understand what part of the onion is scattering all over the cutting board. The thing is this, it is kind of inevitable that some of the onion will scatter. That is just how onions are. So I would recommend getting a bigger cutting board. That's one thing. Another thing is, I do feel like some of your strands are breaking apart. You might be cutting in too close to the root end. So guys, we're going to go in with roughly 2 tablespoons of butter. And again, this might seem like a lot of fat, but I want a nice rich sauce, okay? And we don't want this butter to burn. So the key for these shallots, guys, we're looking to infuse the fat with the flavor of the shallots. We're looking to saute the shallots, but we do not want to burn the butter. So guys, do you hear that crackle? Do you hear that pop? Does anybody know why butter does that? Or rather, does anybody not know why butter does that? Does anybody know why butter burns easier than other fats? I'm just kind of looking for somebody who doesn't know because I would love to explain it to you. And this is me sort of teaching you and talking to you about what it means to actually cook with the butter on the heat. And so, the reason why butter has pops and cracks, yes, Jack, you gave the answer for us, is that butter is not a completely homogeneous fat. It has what are called the milk solids, right? The butter solids. And then it also has a little bit of water inside. And so that popping, that bursting, is both the water evaporating, so that's not the stage where the butter tends to burn, but then once that hissing stops, that's an indication that the water is cooked out, and all the little solids in the butter, is everybody paying attention? I need a yes, chef. Can then risk burning. And we do not want to risk burning the butter. So at this stage, we're going to go in with all of my shallots, all of my lovely shallots. Guys, we're cooking over a nice medium heat, and we're mixing them in nice and thoroughly, making sure that all of the shallots are beautifully, beautifully coated in all of this butter. Nice medium, low heat, guys. You don't want to have too high of a heat, especially when you're cooking with butter, because then you will just end up squelching those little buttery solids, okay? And we're not looking for that browned butter flavor. I'm just looking for the nice, clean, delicious flavor of butter in this. Now, you can do a brown butter sauce, but then that's not what I'm really going for today now, is it? Right? So you can, and it's entirely up to you. So guys, nice, low, medium heat. So, that's okay, Snapgab. I'm all right with that. So, we're going to go ahead and season this bad boy with a little bit of salt. It's going to help pull out some of the moisture of the shallots. And you need to remember that shallots don't exactly cook the same as onions. And the reason they don't cook the same is because shallots tend to be a little bit sweeter. Shallots tend to burn easier than onions. So we're almost cooking this, not dissimilar to garlic, where we're really paying attention to it and stirring it every so often. We still have a little bit of time before we do really truly risk burning the shallots. And while this is happening, guys, let's go ahead and get some of the garlic into this bad boy. Is it over? Is Vosh no longer rating me? Is that time dead? Is that time gone? Tragic. Okay, guys, we are going to go ahead and get a couple of, well, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate having you. Guys, we're going to go ahead and get a couple of cloves of garlic ready to go. As always, as you may know, I cannot stand for the life of me chopping garlic on a cutting board. It is an absolute headache. It is an absolute waste of time. And so, right, he's overrated. Well, Annie, you can tell him that there is no such thing as too much attention for me. Okay, guys, we have to keep these shallots moving. You can really see some of them are turning very, very slightly dark brown, even in just a few of those moments. So again, we keep it moving, we keep it mixing, and we're actually going to continuously turn down this heat. We do not want these shallots to burn. We're just looking for them to infuse their flavor into that lovely butter. The unofficial Vosh raid. Well, welcome on in. I'm glad that I've had so many people join in anyways. So guys, let's go ahead and get these garlic cloves nice and pressed. No, Jack, I've never made a garlic infused oil, typically because I think that's like a little bit too much effort. and I would just rather include garlic in a different part of a dish. I feel like that is too much effort to put into something for home use. Because I also don't go through that much like garlic infused oil. I might want it for like one thing, but then I don't want it for like 30 things, for like the amount that it would take to make it. Okay guys, again, I'm constantly mixing these shallots. The shallots, they cook so much quicker than regular onions. They're already turning a really beautiful dark brown. Let's go ahead and get this garlic processed ASAP. So guys, again, garlic into my garlic press. Bam, that's 1. Garlic into the garlic press. And that is 2. 2 dads kissing. I'll make sure to hydrate in just a second. Thank you for your consideration. We want a nice, delicious, aromatic sauce, guys. Okay? And let's get all of that scraped off. And let's go into the stove once more, guys. The shallots are beautifully golden brown. Let's get all that garlic inside. The garlic does burn a little faster than the shallots do. Okay? So we just want to go ahead and slightly fry the garlic over a low heat, guys. We're stirring this super, super often. And now we're going to go ahead and get some lovely white wine ready. You don't have to use white wine for the sauce. It just adds like a really nice sweetness. It adds a really nice aromatic quality to it. Love the flavor of wine and sauces. Okay? So guys, we're mixing the garlic. We're frying it. We're making sure to break up any garlic clusters because they're so sticky. They love sticking to each other. They do a thing where they infuse oil with garlic and then they remove the garlic. So spent. I see Italians do that all the time as well. And I typically don't love doing that because it feels like such a waste of garlic and you don't really get any garlic flavor out of it that way. So guys, guess what? This is just about done. This is just about ready. And now into this hot pan we go with a nice generous glug of white wine. And so, all we're really looking to do now is we're just going to reduce this into a nice syrupy consistency and add in a bunch of chicken stock. So is this halal? No, because we use the white wine. If you guys want a perfect substitute for white wine, I mean, I guess you can use vinegar, right? But also, it's not a very essential component of the sauce whatsoever. The sauce, in of itself, is a chipotle sauce. It's a chipotle sauce. The most important component, guys, is the chicken stock. We're going to reduce this chicken stock so much. Let's talk about this again really quickly, okay? For this chicken stock, as you guys can see, this is not a very rich chicken stock. It's very watery. That is because we don't have enough of a gelatin concentration inside. To really properly, beautifully concentrate the gelatin, we're going to pour in all of this chicken stock, or like maybe half of it. Half of this chicken stock, we're going to evaporate all of this liquid, and then it's going to concentrate and become this incredible meaty syrup. And that syrup is going to be nice and thick. It's what's actually going to thicken our sauce, and it's going to be really beautifully flavorful. Okay, so we need to isolate, we need to concentrate that gelatin from the chicken stock. And so all we're doing right now, guys, is we're taking this wine and we're evaporating all of the excess liquid in a similar fashion. We're just concentrating the sugars from the wine, right? Just concentrating it all. It's getting nice and foamy, as you guys can tell. Really, really simple, guys. Really, really easy. Okay. Really quickly, we also have to talk about this. Remember when I said, intentionally, do not salt your chicken stocks. Don't salt your beef stocks. Well, this is why. I want you all to think about this for a second. Let's say, let me have some water first, actually. Let's say you perfectly seasoned your stock. Let's say it's a really delicious stock and it's like perfect to eat on its own and to make into a chicken soup. Now, let's say you want to take that same chicken stock and make this kind of a sauce where we need to reduce its volume. And then you taste it and it's unbearably salty. When we make this chicken stock is a blank slate of potential. We don't know if it's for a soup or for a sauce. Okay? And so, because of the fact that this is for a sauce and because of the fact that it's not salty, we won't be over-concentrating the salt. If this was a perfectly seasoned chicken stock, by the time that we evaporate the excess liquid, all of that salt stays. The salt doesn't evaporate. The salt doesn't go anywhere. So, everybody, I need to hear a nice yes, chef, right now. Do not, I repeat, do not salt your stocks. You do not know what you'll be using it for. Do not salt them. I need a yes, chef, for this. I need to make sure that all of you understand. Okay, beautiful, good. I'm glad all of you understand the vision, the dream. So guys, take a look. The wine is reducing beautifully. The shallots, the garlic, they've all infused the wine in of itself. This is a really respectable sauce, but we're not going for a wine sauce, guys. We're going to be getting this delicious infused chicken chipotle sauce. That looks really, really yummy at the moment. We've evaporated a lot of the liquid from the wine itself. We don't really need this to like stick and burn or anything. So all that we're going to do, guys, okay, is just about ready to go. I evaporate the wine separately just to ensure that we got it to a really nice syrupy consistency. And we want almost like the shallots and the garlic to then dissolve into all of that white wine. And this is the base of a lot of different French sauces as well, right? Maybe not with white wine, I believe with white wine vinegar, you would make like a beurre blanc, right, from this. So this is a very, very classic French technique. But now we have all of these shallots, we have all of this wine. You can see it's beginning to stick, guys. Let's go ahead and reintroduce all of my lovely homemade chicken stock. And the reason I'm using a nice big pan like this is because we have so much surface area. We have so much additional surface area that it's going to be able to evaporate a lot easier. If we were to use something like a stock pot, what would happen is we have a lot less surface area, we have like the tall walls of it. It's going to take a lot longer for us to actually evaporate all the excess liquid from it. So again, completely unsalted chicken stock is essential for the level of reduction I'm going for here. How many of you guys, do you guys know what a demi-glace is? Spelled like a demi-glace. Have you guys seen the word demi-glace? Demi-glace. Right, like have you ever seen like, oh, the steak is served with a demi-sauce or something? Have you guys seen that before? I'm just curious how many people are familiar with this concept already. So guys, I'm just going ahead and I'm stirring this in. I'm making sure that all the shallots, everything is just nicely incorporated inside. Okay, so guys, a demi, right, a demi-glace is this really, really traditional French sauce where they go ahead and they take veal and they make a big, really concentrated like veal and beef stock with some other vegetables, and they cook it down so much that when the stock is cold, it looks completely solid. It has that much gelatin in it. And the beauty of a demi is that you're able to add it into something and all of that gelatin is then able to thicken the sauce. So what we're looking to do is to take this chicken stock and reduce it so much that it becomes syrupy without the need of additional thickeners. Now we might go ahead and add in a little bit of cornstarch, okay? But essentially, we're naturally just taking advantage of the existing gelatin present in this stock. When we reduce the liquid, the gelatin in it is going to make it nice and thick. It's going to give it that quality. That's that gelatin sticking to your mouth, okay? We're not gonna serve it cold. It's gonna be a nice, delicious, viscous sauce, okay? And then we'll be finishing it off with the chipotle paste, and it's going to be pretty incredible. It's gonna be pretty delicious, guys. So I am quite excited for this myself. So all that we really need to do now that we've added the chicken stock, we're just going to be stirring it occasionally. We're going to bring it to a boil, and we will keep it boiling. We'll keep it boiling, we'll keep it toiling until all of that chicken stock has lost a significant amount of the volume. Look at that shimmer. It looks like a real piss lake, doesn't it? Yummy. Okay. So chicken stock I'm going to go ahead and set aside for now. We might use the rest of it, we might not. I'm just going to go ahead and just take a second to clean up my station. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me in the meantime? Because now would be a really, really good time to do so. Remember, I am here to teach you. That's you, buddy. I'm here to teach you all how to cook at home. Okay, okay. And let's just clean up my station slightly. Just get rid of a couple of things. Chef, are you all right in the head? Do I need to chill out? Wait, was I being weird? Guys, was I being strange? What did I say? What did I say? Was it about the lake thing? Was it about this? Sorry, my fault. I got everybody in chat to jump on me for this. Everybody hated that. Everybody hated that. Stop it, stop it. Everybody chill out. Now you guys need to chill out. All right. I am going to just go ahead and just quickly clean off my, well, actually, do I need the garlic press still? Yeah, we're going to use it for a couple of other things, so I'm still gonna hold on to that. Okay, I'm just cleaning up my station really, really quickly from the garlic and onions and stuff. So guys, now it's being brought up to a boil. Let's go ahead and just grab a larger spoon now, because we can just use that to make our life a little bit easier. Again, we're just looking to evaporate the majority of the liquid from the chicken stock. This is going to take up quite some time, and thus, using a nice wide vessel like a saute pan is my ideal tool of choice. I know it looks overfilled, I know it looks flooded at the moment, but I promise you all of that liquid is then going to go down. So, let's do a little bit of a recap session. We have the mushroom sauce, or the chipotle sauce going. Guys, this is my lovely, incredible, beautiful Spaetzle batter. This bad boy right here is going to be the basis for today. Spaetzle, for those of you that are uninitiated, is a German dumpling. Not like a Chinese stuffed dumpling, but when I say dumpling, I mean like a chicken and dumpling. I like to consider it as a pasta. And the beauty of a Spaetzle, I want you all to tap in. I want everybody here to listen to this one right now. I need you all to understand the beauty of a Spaetzle. Okay, making homemade pasta is a headache, as in fresh pasta. Fresh pasta is really, really beautiful. It's really, really delicious. And people will say, oh, this pasta is so easy. It just takes 2 ingredients. And then you add in flour and you add in the eggs and then you make the dough. And then you make the dough, you knead it. You're like, wow, I'm exhausted. That was 20 minutes of kneading. Okay, I have to let that rest for an hour. And then you have to flour the surface, get an entire table dirty. You then have to go ahead and roll it out on this massive table. Then you have to go ahead and cut it, and maybe you don't cut it thin enough. And so then you have to go into a pasta roller and get that done into thin sheets, and then you have to cut it and let it air dry. Homemade pasta is such a headache. It is such a headache. Also, thank you so much. That was just a follow note. I don't have any audio right now. So, making homemade pasta is an incredible headache. I consider it a novelty. We live in the year 2024. Not many people have, dedicated housewife jobs anymore. This is a good thing. I want to clarify, right? This idea of the traditional housewife, it's gone. It's no longer present. In Italian culture, it was the house grandma, it was the housewife that would be making the pasta at home. For the average American now, where everybody in a household goes to work, making pasta on a weeknight, unless you're doing it as a novelty, go ahead, have fun. If you work a 9 to 5 and you come home exhausted from work and you want fresh pasta, you are not making fresh pasta dough. It is just not happening. It is a waste of time. So this is where I think Spaetzle comes in. Spaetzle, egg, milk, flour. 2 cups of flour, 3/4 of a cup of milk, and 3 eggs. I blended in some blanched cilantro and parsley to just get it nice and green and nice and herbaceous to fit better with the Chipotle theme that we have going on. Blended it, added it, mixed it, that's it. The last thing is this just goes into boiling water using a little bit of a tool. That is how I think that Spaetzle is the ideal home pasta / dumpling. Is it exactly the same? Will you get all these different pasta shapes? No, they're 2 different things, of course. But if you have that fresh pasta itch and you want it so badly, this is what I think all of you should be doing at home. This is the thing that has gotten me to be like, wow, I get to eat fresh, delicious, homemade dough. It's one of the most beautiful things in life. Fresh dough is delicious, freshly baked, freshly cooked, freshly boiled, pastas and breads. And so, Spaetzle is the ideal home pasta. It is the ideal home dumpling. That is why I keep talking about it like this over and over. It's a batter, there is no kneading, there is barely any mixing, there is no rolling out. What about those pre-made semi-soft pastas, Tarina? I think they're too expensive for what they are, but I think they're fine. What I really like is in some Italian neighborhoods, there's like restaurants or like specifically pasta shops that sell you those. I wouldn't buy like the boxed ones though. And guys, dried pasta is delicious and fine, but fresh pasta is just its own thing, and that's fresh Spaetzle. So, we blended herbs, we added them in, we made a beautiful batter. Then guys, we also made this really, really lovely Chipotle paste. Now, when you're thinking about German cooking, you're thinking about European cooking, you're not really thinking about Chipotles. These were some leftover canned Chipotles that I had. Everything about cooking at home means to use up things that you already had. That Spaetzle has cilantro in it. We're going to make this really, really beautiful Chipotle sauce. Guys, if you think about it, a Spaetzle, flour, milk, eggs, nothing about that is particularly German. We can go ahead and make a sauce out of whatever ingredients that we would like. And thus, I think this delicious smoky Chipotle sauce that we're about to build is going to be incredible alongside this delicious, chewy, toothsome Spaetzle. So we blended up some Chipotles with some half and half because I forgot to buy. No, that's not true. I went and I thought I bought heavy cream and I instead bought a thing of half and half. I wanted the heavy cream originally for thickening purposes, but that's okay, we don't have it. And now guys, we sauteed some shallots, we sauteed some garlic and some butter, and now we just have that reducing alongside some white wine and a bunch of chicken stock. And guys, we're just going to occasionally give this bad boy a little stir and make sure nothing is stuck to the bottom. I know this doesn't really look like a sauce at this stage. Tarina, we didn't stem it. We didn't stem it because we blended it. Okay? So guys, all we're doing right now is we're just getting all of this stuff lovely and processed and reduced. It doesn't look like a sauce yet, but just be patient. Trust the process. Does everybody understand? Can I please get a yes, chef, on this? again, the stock is not salted, so that when we reduce, it'll be perfect. So what are the other things that we need to do? I wanted to make some delicious sauteed mushrooms, and I also wanted to do a cucumber salad. So let's actually go ahead and get some of the prep for the cucumber salad done and out of the way, and I'll talk about why I'm doing this now and in advance. So let's go ahead and make a cucumber salad. I really love food that holds well in the fridge, the kind of a thing that you can just go ahead, you don't even have to reheat anything, and thus having a really nice fridge salad is really optimal. I'm going to be doing a cucumber salad. These are my favorite cucumbers. Unfortunately, this typical cucumber is dubbed as an Israeli cucumber, also sold as Persian cucumbers, right? Same ones. So these are my favorites. You can use Kirby's. I just hate English cucumbers. English cucumbers, I hate that texture. The skin is always like a little waxy. They feel like a zucchini inside almost. They have like a real sponginess to them. And so this is my ideal kind of cucumber, guys. Okay, so it's sold by the names that I would list. Again, you don't have to use this kind of a cucumber for a cucumber salad, but this is the cucumber that I grew up eating a lot. It is one of my favorites. It has a really nice, delicious flavor. And so, guys, the beauty, again, of a salad like this is that this is an optimal fridge salad. This is the kind of a salad that you throw into your fridge and it's able to chill out. So we need to get the cucumber prep done ahead of time. Why? You must first understand the cucumber. And a cucumber is full of water, right? He's full of it. And we need to go ahead and get rid of some of that excess water. If we were to chop up a salad and season it and eat it immediately, it'd be perfect. But you put that into the fridge and the salad is going to become watery. Why does it become watery? Because the salt, the seasonings, just by sitting there when it was cut, the cucumber releases all of its excess liquid. And then your salad becomes soggy. So how do we mitigate this? We give this cucumbers a little pre-seasoning, a salting, salting. Sorry. And why do we do that? Salt is hydrophilic. Salt is going to help encourage and facilitate the pulling out of water. And then we'll be able to go ahead and get rid of all that excess water. So guys, nicely washed cucumber, nice and scrubbed, because I love the cucumber skin. Right? I love the texture and the taste of a cucumber skin. We're not going to do anything crazy, guys. We're just going to cut these into not too small, not too thick. This is a cucumber salad. This is the thickness I'm kind of looking for here. So basically the width of one dainty little finger like mine. So that's what I'm really going for here. So let's just go through and get a bunch of these coins of cucumbers. And I'm not looking for like a crazy angle either. I don't need these to be cut on too much of a bias. I'm not looking for massive chunks of cucumber here, guys. Okay? Nice and easy. And we're just going to do this with all of my cucumbers. And again, the beauty of this kind of a salad, guys, is that this is just able to go ahead and sit in the fridge, and you're able to go ahead and scoop this out and eat it as needed. In fact, guys, I don't even think today I'm going for any crazy cuts, no angles, no nothing like that. Let's go back on over to the stock. We just want to make sure that nothing is stuck on the sides. We want to make sure that nothing is stuck on the bottom, because especially the gelatin, it can sometimes stick to the bottom and burn. So we're just giving the whole thing a really nice generous scrape. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me at the moment? Again, the sauce, guys, it's going to take a little bit of time. Don't add any additional salt, by the way. We're only going to add the salt in at the end because we don't know how much salt is actually going to need. So the reason why I don't do that, serious guy, is because I kind of figured out some of my ingredients last second. Although, I mean, enough people have been asking me for this, for the people that want to cook along. It's just that I also do some kind of prep off the camera as well. So if we want to do, what if once a month we did a full cook along? Where I tell you like exactly the amount of prep that we do? What if we did like one? That wouldn't be bad. Because the whole idea is I want to teach you this, and if that makes it a little bit more teachable, once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks, we could do like a full, it's just a cook along would take a lot more planning for me, is the only thing. Yeah, I'll consult the council, my shadow council, and we'll see how we feel about it. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get these tops and bottoms trimmed off yet again. And now begins the great salting of my cucumbers. Again, I'm keeping the salad nice and chunky intentionally. I want like nice big cucumbers. Also, they tend to hold up a little better in the fridge when they're not thinly sliced. Okay, I am going to quickly moisturize my hands. My hands are so dry today. Wow. So excuse me, just for one moment, please. And just getting that done. I apologize for walking off camera, for stepping off the scene for a moment, guys. Let's go ahead and look and my lovely cucumbers here, all nice and chopped up. Again, we're not measuring things, guys. I just bought a bunch of cucumbers at the supermarket. All I really wanted was a salad that would stay nice and fresh, and one that would just be able to hold well into the fridge as well. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and glove up through this bad boy. And now we can commence. Well, once I get the gloves on, we're going to commence the great salting of these cucumbers. And the salting, again, it accomplishes a couple of things. So we'll talk about that again in just a second. So, let me get the second glove on. Beautiful. And let's go ahead and mix this around. Okay, so let's get into some cooking theory, guys. Let's get into some cooking theory really quickly. Also, I'll show you the viscosity of the sauce in just a second. Let's get into some cooking theory. Let's get into some cooking facts at the moment. Okay, I'll hydrate, Serena. The most important thing that people can learn as a cook, that they will learn through the course of their life cooking. What do you guys think is the most important part of food? Name concepts, name techniques that you think this is the most important thing in cooking. Name it. I want people to just start naming things that they think are, this is what makes a great chef. This is what makes a great home cook. Temperature, knife skills. Okay, keep it going. Keep it going. Vibes. Sure, Tina, that's a good one. Nothing will ever be perfect. What is the... Not piss laking. No more piss laking. No whimsy. Just name things that you think would make an amazing chef. Good use of spices, good taste, portion management. Okay, using up what you have. Surely that makes a good home cook. But guys, the thing that makes a good cook on every single level of food, from beginners to experts, okay? From home cooks to professional chefs, from people that are just throwing together something. It's not heat control, it's not timing, it's none of these things. It is moisture regulation. In cooking, almost everything is about taking out water into something or putting water into something. Taking out water out of something or putting water into something. Right now for the sauce, we're taking out water. For the cucumbers, we're also looking to take out water. Moisture management is one of the most important concepts. And moisture management also refers to a lot of different things. The most important, absolutely. So much of cooking is making sure when you're cooking a piece of meat, what's the most important thing? That you don't overcook it and it becomes dry. Because when it's dry, you would have effectively cooked out all of the liquid from it by pushing it out. With a salad like this is something that will easily become soggy if we just season it and put it into the fridge immediately as it is. So what do we need to do, guys? We need to go ahead and put some salt into it. Why are we using the salt? Because the salt is hydrophilic and it's going to do a really good job of pulling out that excess moisture. The salt is also going to season and penetrate the inside of a cucumber. Look how thick this cucumber is. Right? If we were just to make a dressing, the inside of that cucumber would be bland. The beauty of salt is that it does a really good job, especially of penetrating vegetables. We're going to need, also, Caminatista, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you. I'm doing quite well today. So guys, we're heavily covering these cucumbers with salt because a lot of that salt is going to pull out the liquid from the cucumber, and then it's going to then dissolve into the water and we'll be able to pull it out. If you try a cucumber at this stage, it's going to taste too salty. We're going to then lose it. Can you reuse the salt? Not really, House of Leaves, because the salt is going to come out in the form of the cucumber liquid. So we're just looking to generously cover the cucumbers. If you taste this, you're going to get a big hit of salt immediately. I promise you, as the salt penetrates the inside of the cucumber and release all of that excess cucumber liquid, we'll get a perfectly seasoned cucumber. But that's what I mean when I say that the most important concept in food that people will learn for the rest of their lives is moisture management. Knowing how wet your pan is can be the difference between something boiling, frying, and burning. Knowing how to manage the moisture of your vegetables stops you from getting a soggy salad. Moisture is everything in cooking. That's right, yes, it's osmotic, so absolutely, Miss Trellin. So the salt is going to go ahead and penetrate some of the cucumber, and then it's also going to effectively pull out, some of the excess moisture that it does not need. This way, our salad is going to stay nice and fresh, even as it sits into the fridge for a few days. One of the worst things is that even without salt, even if you just chop up vegetables, you put them into a fridge, because of the fact that they're chopped up, you've crushed some of the cells, they have additional surface area, they end up losing some of their liquid. So the outside of it gets dry, and then it's in a pool of its own juices. So guys, I want you all now to take a look at the viscosity of the sauce really quickly. So let's go back to the stove. So this we're just gonna go ahead and set aside behind me. We don't need this for a good while. Okay, I want you all to take a beautiful look at the viscosity of this sauce. All of a sudden, the chicken stock that we put in, you can almost see how it's, you know, the way, you can look at the tension of it, you can look at the surfaces. I want you to pay attention to the bubbles. The bubbles don't just look like boiling water, they look like they're starting to struggle to come up to the top. That's telling us that we're starting to obtain something a little bit more viscous. All I'm really doing, guys, is I'm going through this bad boy, and you can see how murky it's become. It's become really, really cloudy, okay? It's trapping in a lot more air, right? The bubbles are struggling to come out a little bit more. The sauce is becoming nice and beautifully thick. I want to actually use up all of the chicken stock. We originally couldn't fit all of the chicken stock, so let's go ahead and fit it in now. Let's just add in the rest of it, guys, and we're going to evaporate this bad boy and bubble it away until we have a beautiful, beautiful sauce. It's going to take some time. We have a lot of other things that we can be doing in the meantime, but this needs to be, you have to do this with some amount of patience, okay? I wanted a really, really nice, thick, velvety, gelatinous sauce for my Spaetzle today. So we're using the natural thickening properties of the stock. We're using the fact that it has that gelatin in order to thicken it. So hopefully we won't need to add another starch, okay? And that way, guys, when we concentrate all those flavors of the stock, we will get something that is truly, truly meaty. It's gonna be truly meaty, and I just wanted to use up my excess chicken stock. So we gotta keep it boiling. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me? We currently have the cucumber sitting with the salt. We can begin the processing for the mushrooms. We could probably begin the sauteing stage of the mushrooms. And we can go ahead and finish up the rest of the salad. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Where did the shallots go? They're all in the pan. They're all melted in. When are you doing this type of sauce? How strong the fire must be? So really good question, Comunitista. So the reason why I had to come check you out from all my chat friends raving about you. How'd you, like, which community? How strong must the fire be? Really good question, Comunitista. So, why do we use a high fire versus a low fire? Do you guys remember my rant about moisture management? Well, it's coming back into play now. The more water something has, the less likely it is to burn. What is burning? It is a product of the Maillard reaction, and water is a direct inhibitor of the Maillard reaction. The wetter something is, the less viscous it is, the less of a chance for something to stick to the bottom and burn. And so, we use a super high heat when it's really, really liquidy and we're stirring occasionally. But once this gets a little bit thicker and we would have lost a little bit of the moisture, we need to turn down the heat and stir it more often to make sure that it's not burning on the bottom. So that's why we're alternating between a high heat and a low heat for the sauce. Does that make sense? Okay, when you wear gloves, do you do it to keep the food clean or to keep your hands clean? I do it because I have eczema. My hands are really, really dry. So anything that's like too salty, anything that's too acidic will continue to dry out and damage my hands. So I really recommend it if you're handling things like lemons, if you're handling anything salty. That's why I do it specifically. Okay, and so if anybody also has dry hands through cooking, I really, really recommend getting some nice nitrile gloves. Okie dokie. So this sauce is going, and again, we can basically leave this by itself. It's not so thick and gelatinous at the stage that we have to really risk it burning. So I'm just stirring it occasionally, and we're just gonna keep this bad boy reducing, and you're going to see how delicious this sauce is gonna become, and we'll be finishing it off with that chipotle paste. So let's go ahead and proceed with everything else that we need to. We have to get the rest of the salad ingredients going, so let's go ahead and get that done. I have a leftover, basically half a red onion here that I'm going to want for the salad. Okay, so depending on what you would like, a very nice thing that you can do for red onions is you can just put in a little bit of vinegar or just like salty cold water to leach out some of like its burn. I don't think that's super necessary. We're only using like less than half a red onion for the salad. I think as it is, it's going to be perfectly fine. So let's talk about why we're using this. Well, it's because I had a leftover. I'm just gonna cut off this dried end and get rid of it. Let's talk about how we actually want to cut this. Guys, I have become a real hater of cutting slices of onion this way. And the reason why is because we cut it perpendicular to the grain of the cells. We get a lot more of a pungent onion that way. I'm going to just simply look to slice the onion parallel. But you see these lines? We're going to cut it parallel to that. We're going to get some nice thin slices here for my salad today. Okay? So let's go ahead and cut the root end of it off. All of that goes off. This is from Sunday Stream. This is from Sunday Stream, I believe. Okay, guys, and all I'm going to go ahead and do is, and again, this is why we don't pre-chop vegetables. I want you all to tap in. So I saved this onion instead of throwing it away, but I intentionally did not save chopped onions. Guys, this is called destructive prep versus non-destructive prep. This is a term that I coined. And so, let me explain to you why. If we were to chop this in advance, here's what happens. The longer that it sits, simply because of the fact that we're exposing more surface area of the onion, because of the fact that we're processing it more, it's going to sit there, it's going to slowly push out a little bit of liquid, and it's going to get kind of soft on the outside and a little dried up. The more that you process something, the less shelf stable it becomes. Specifically, I'm talking about chopping and cutting things. And this way, we can then decide if we want a chopped onion or a sliced onion. In this case, I'm going to want a really nicely beautiful sliced up onion, guys. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut parallel to the onion itself, right? And we're just going to obtain, I'm looking for nice, thin slices of onion, guys. Nice and thin, all the way through. Full length of the knife, base to tip, pull it out. Pull it out. We're not chopping, we're slicing. If you start chopping with a dull knife, you're gonna crush the cells and it's gonna make you cry. Nice, sharp knife, slice it and slice it, okay? And slice it and slice it and slice it and slice it. Onions can be quite dangerous because of the bacterias. I'm not entirely sure about that. I don't know what exactly you're trying to say here. And guys, just like that, we got a bunch of beautifully sliced up onions. Nice and easy, right? It breaks apart this way really easily, and this to me is the perfect amount for a cucumber salad like this. The longer that it also sits in the fridge, the less pungent it's gonna become. If your onion is too pungent, you can soak it in a little bit of like cold water and vinegar and just get rid of that liquid, okay? Or just use that liquid as well, but I'm not going to do that today. I don't think it's particularly necessary. Guys, this sauce is now becoming nice and sticky. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of it. Bluster, welcome on in. Hello, hello, it's lovely to have you. Let's go ahead and just get these thrown into a separate little bowl. Okay, and I'm just going to use once again, my handy dandy little bench scraper just to scoop up all of these onions, throw them into the bowl. And again, we could also like pre-season these, but they're not going to get like that wet or anything. I'll just season them at the end. It'll be okay. Let's go ahead and, you know, I should probably do the dressing on that one. And I'm just gonna get the onions over to a different bowl. Okay, so that's my onions. Guys, let's go ahead and build this dressing. So why am I doing this specific dressing today? Why is this the one that I have chosen? Well, I had some leftover sour cream. And so this is like a very, very like typical Eastern European salad, German salad kind of thing to use sour cream as the base of a salad dressing. And so that's what I wanted to do. That was my inspiration for today. This is a very nice way of using up leftover sour cream, right? Make a really, really nice, simple salad dressing out of it. And so, all that I'm going to do, guys, is we're just going to go ahead and scoop up all of the remainder of my leftover sour cream. It's not all that much, so we might sub it in with a little bit of mayonnaise as well if I feel like it. Okay? And just put it all inside. Yeah, it's not that much sour cream. We might just end up subbing in a little bit of mayo, and that's totally fine. Because I'm just looking for like a slightly creamy salad, but we'll see how we feel about it in a second. Okay, there you go. That's all of that. Let's go ahead and get rid of this now. We've done the thing, guys, that we wanted to do. We got rid of all of it. I have never used wild garlic leaves, Jack. I have never had the privilege of using such an ingredient. Let's go back into the broth, guys, and we're just giving that a nice, proper stir. Once again, we're just making sure that there is no protein stuck anywhere, and we're just going to keep the whole thing nicely and beautifully reducing. Okay, it's getting there. It's getting to the consistency we need slowly but surely. Okay, do I have a lemon actually? That is something that I should have checked out beforehand. If not lemon, we might just do something else for a little splash of acidity. It does not seem like I have a lemon, and that is totally and completely okay. Okay, let's go ahead and get another clove of garlic in this bad boy. Because of the fact that the garlic is going to be in a raw format, in a raw setting, we're only going to need 1 clove of crushed garlic, guys. Especially for salad dressings, I love a crushed thing of garlic, right? I don't want to ever bite into a chunk of garlic in a salad. So let's go ahead and do that now. Garlic, give it a little press, give it a little smashing. Let's just go ahead and peel it up. And again, I cannot stand chopping garlic. It's sticky, it's super, super uncomfortable. It just is such a waste of time. I think the one tool that everybody needs, even if you're just doing 1 clove of garlic, guys, invest in a garlic press. Can I please get a yes, chef? Please and thank you. All right, and let's just get that inside. Beautiful. And I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up really quickly. Get all that garlic in there, and we're still going to need that for the mushrooms. So guys, sour cream, garlic, I might do a splash of vinegar in there for the acidity, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and get some of the herbs for today's dressing. The cilantro I'm just going to use as a garnish later on. We're going to need parsley. Yeah, let's just get all the herbs done and ready to go for us right now. So that's that little bundle of herbs. Okay, let's move this aside. That's that bad boy. And let's get some more parsley, in fact, because I'm going to get the parsley that I want for the mushrooms and my final garnish just all ready at once. So that's all the parsley. And all that we're going to do, guys, is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to pluck off the stems. The reason I'm plucking off the stems is because they tend to be a little bit toothsome. They tend to be a little bit woody. I don't really love the texture in a raw application or in a finishing application. So I'm just stirring up my broth one more time. We're slowly but surely getting the whole thing nice and beautifully thick. Nice and sticky. So let's go ahead and pluck them. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me in the meantime? Just clean up my station slightly, and there we go. Parsley, let's pluck it. Let's pluck it. Let's do it. Beautiful. Pluck, pluck, pluck. And again, you don't have to pluck it if you don't want to. I just find that parsley, especially, the texture is a little too woody. It's a little too toothsome. Oh, I apologize for how overexposed all of this is. I don't know why it's choosing to be this way at the moment. And so guys, everything is really going to have the parsley. We're going to use it as a garnish for the Spaetzle. We're going to be using it inside of the salad as well. It'll be really nice, and then we'll be tossing some into the mushrooms. Be really nice. So every single one of these, and again, you don't have to be too perfect. Just, you know, go as much as you would like to for something like this. Was there parsley into the Spaetzle? Yes, there was. We blanched it. For that one, we blanched it because when we blended it, we didn't want it to turn brown or oxidize. Oof, today's stream might actually be another long one because we started off a little bit later than I would have liked to. So we're just taking our time, guys. We're being nice and patient. All right. Let's get all the parsley nicely and beautifully plucked. Pluck it and pluck it and pluck it and get all of it done. There you go. Oop, that's a little too much stem even for me. Let's fix that. Let's not get lazy with this at the finish line. A few more to go. Okay. Get that hair out of my way. Do I know the actual temperature that needs to be for blanched herbs? No, I just do boiling water for like 10 seconds. It doesn't actually have to be particularly perfect. I just know that a lot of people don't do it for more than 15 seconds at boiling water. Right. So you can theoretically also just do it in hot water. You probably just need it for like a few extra seconds in that case. Okay, and that's that. In fact, guys, let's go ahead and go back into the sauce and give it a stir. Again, I know the sauce doesn't look like much. You just got to be patient. It's going to have so much flavor. It's going to be so meaty. It's going to have so much oomph to it. This is going to be a really, really, really beautiful sauce. I'm just going to get my water boiling again for later. Okay. But yeah, it's with cooking, nothing has to be like super exact. It's more like we don't have to like pursue a very specific optimal temperature with blanching it. We just don't want to overcook it. Okay. All right. So there you go. All the parsley plucked. Number one mistake. The thing that I hate most is a rock chop. I never want to see you chop your herbs. I need a yes chef right now. We slice. When you chop, you use a tiny chunk of your knife and then you crush it on the way down and you cleave it like an axe. So here's what we do, everybody. We treat these herbs gently and delicately, like a baby bird. We take it and we roll it up, and we take it and we roll it up and we put it into our hands, into our paws, and we bundle all of it up. We take it, we take it, we take it, we take it. Okie dokie. Like a little teeny tiny pathetic baby bird. And we're going to hold it, okay? Not so gently that it flies away, but not so firmly that we go ahead and we crush it. So guys, take it and roll it up and hold it nice and firmly. And guys, we take the little tiny baby bird, chirp chirp, stop wiggling in my hand, idiot. And now we slice him. We use the full length of our blade. We slice it. We don't chop it, guys. We slice it and we slice it and we slice it and slice it all the way through. And this is how you properly slice herbs. When you chop you crush and you expose all the chlorophyll and it oxidizes and it becomes mushy and then it loses its flavor. By slicing it gently and giving it so much love and care and affection and attention, guys. That is how you get a properly sliced herb that doesn't lose its flavor as it sits, or at least to a much lesser extent. The worst thing that you can do is to chop and crush and destroy volatile things such as fresh herbs, guys. And so now we're just going to go give it in a little rotation because I don't love massive pieces of parsley. This is how you get them to be fine, by slicing it gently. You slice it full length, no chops, full length. We pull the knife through. We take the knife and we pull it through. We take it, we pull it, we pull it, we pull it, we pull it. So the chat did become a little bit crazy. That's right. Green baby bird emote. Yo, Taza, what do you think about that? Green baby bird emote? That would go so hard. That would go crazy. In fact, what if we had like a splash screen that every time I do like a baby bird, we have like a little animation on the screen of like a green baby bird sort of flying in, right? Oh God, no, that's what Adam Ragusa did. Oh no. Adam Ragusa used to have like little splash art as well for the things he used to do a lot. But the difference is I'm cool and I'm interesting. Okay, well, we'll think about it. Now that would be sick. That would be amazing. That would be so good. Okay, guys, I'm just giving this whole thing a nice rotation. We're scraping down the sides. We're getting all of that delicious gelatin back inside, back incorporated into my lovely stock here. Ooh. Nice and sticky, nice and delicious. Okay, and now this is when we might want to lower the heat just a little bit. Okay, because we don't want any of that sticky gelatin to burn on the sides of the pan or anything, guys. We just want to go ahead and just slowly mix everything on in. Beautiful. Okay. I'll write it down, but I'm not happy about it. Okay, we'll talk about it later. It's Premier Legion in France. Well, lovely to see it. Let me show you my Spaetzle batter in just a second, Nora. How's that sound? So guys, I'm going to go ahead and take all of my fresh parsley. We're going to go ahead and dedicate some of it right now for the salad. I don't love too much parsley. Right, so let's do that much for the salad approximately. A little bit more. Okay, that should be good. Okay, and now let's go ahead and finish up my leftover cilantro. Really, really similar, identical fashion to that of the parsley. Okay, you can tell that it's thicker, right, by the way that it's bubbling. Absolutely, you got it. Right, so we're just taking it and we're just scraping it down, guys, and we're just getting this sauce nice and ready to go for us. And it's going to be delicious. We can in fact give it a little taste now, just a taste for the meatiness, see how it's progressing, see how it's coming along. Super delicious, super aggressively chickeny too. That just hits you right in the face. Same idea with the cilantro, guys. All we're going to do is we're just going to be plucking off each of the leaves. Get them out of here. Get them done. Okay? That's that. And we're going to slice them yet again. It does look nice and glossy and thick, doesn't it? That's all that gelatin now properly concentrating. This is where we do need to start stirring it a little teeny tiny bit more often than before, because otherwise it's just going to burn. But guys, that sauce, this bad boy is now properly and beautifully transforming into something really, really special now. Ooh, I just ended up splashing some in a way that I wasn't intending on myself and on the ground. That's fine. That's going to be hell to clean up later. Okay, and let's go ahead and slice it up. Take my cilantro, guys, same exact idea. Just slice, 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 slice. And I'm not going to use this in the salad. I'm just going to garnish with this. Maybe a little bit in the salad won't hurt. Same idea, guys. Just slice it. Just slice this bad boy. A little bit inside my dressing that we're building, and the rest of it onto my plate. Okie dokie. So guys, let me show you my Spaetzle batter once again. This bad boy is going to get dunked into the boiling water. Has the blanched and blended herbs. It's looking really beautiful. We have the sauce on the stove at the moment. We used up all of my leftover cilantro, which was, of course, one of the main goals of today. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get the rest of the mushroom processed. Today is actually a lot longer of a stream than I thought it would be, because we're doing so many different components. We're doing so many different things. Let's get my plate of mushrooms out and ready to go. I will go ahead and set aside my stuff for the salad because we don't need it immediately. Beautiful. Let's get all that stuff ready to go for us. And let's go inspect the sauce. So let's take a look at that sauce, guys. You can see how glossy, how golden she is becoming. Let's continuously just get all of that gelatin reintegrated inside. That is almost there before we add in the chipotle, of course. Okay? The gelatin really, really just making the whole thing syrupy and glossy and delicious. Beautiful. It's nice and sweet from the wine and the shallots. The garlic, everything has beautifully perfumed the sauce. It's getting there, everybody. Slowly but surely, all of those flavors are getting nice and concentrated. Let's go ahead and just chop up the mushrooms for the sauteed mushrooms. And then we'll finish the sauce. So guys, the mushrooms, it's gonna be really, really simple. We're going to be doing the wet cooking method for the mushrooms, which is when we start them off in a little bit of water. So all I'm going to do, guys, is you can think about the size of pieces that you want. For today, I'm actually looking for just some sliced mushrooms like these. They will shrink down, they'll reduce a bunch, right? Because mushrooms, they just really, truly collapse in texture, quite like nothing else. I already cleaned them up, so I just give them a little chopskis, just like so. Beautiful, nice and easy. All these mushrooms. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me in the meantime? Also have to just respond to something really quickly. Okay. Lovely. Let's just keep it going. Get all of these mushrooms nicely done. And again, they'll collapse a whole bunch in texture. They will really, really reduce down. If you guys have cooked mushrooms before, you know how tiny and pathetic they all get. Yeah, no, Tulina, that was crazy. That was a crazy thing to say. Okay, and just a few more to go. And again, what's really nice about a sauteed mushroom is compared to a lot of other proteins, mushrooms, they do reheat exceptionally well. A really cool thing is when you have like leftover sauteed mushrooms, you know, doing like the next day, doing like a mushroom frittata, putting them into an omelet or something, you can't really go wrong with it. Okay, that is quite literally all the prep that we need to do for the mushrooms. And now let's go ahead and stir up my sauce yet again, because guys, when it does start becoming this viscous, this is where we do have a real risk of burning things. You can see how thick it is, especially along the edges. So we're scraping up the sides, we're scraping up the bottom. You can see it's becoming almost like a syrup. Right, it's getting really, really delicious now. Let's go ahead and do my final 2 cloves of garlic. These garlic cloves are going to go towards, where did I put my garlic cloves? Did I lose them? Did I throw them back inside? Hello? Chat, am I going insane? Have I officially lost it? Is it over for the Daramgar now? I have oh, I found it. I've lost my garlic clove, and I found it. Beautiful. Okay, I'm just gonna do like 1 garlic clove or so. Just finish up this little guy. We're gonna give him a little smash, once again, as always, just so that we can go ahead and peel him up really easily. Chef, do you have an opinion on washing your mushrooms? So, G-Spent, I do have an opinion on this. So, classical French theory dictates, you must never wash your mushroom. You will wash away the flavor. And so, there is a little bit of truth to this. The mushroom that you wash can and will supersaturate with water. However, when it comes to porous mushrooms, especially like a morel, you have to wash them because they get little teeny tiny bugs inside. So the way that I wash them is I typically use like a wet cloth. I use like a little wet brush. You can also submerge them. It's just that traditional washing doesn't do a really good job of getting dirt off. A little brush does a much easier job of that. So guys, let's go ahead and get the last of the garlic inside. Let's get it all beautifully pressed, and we will be finishing off the sauce for today. You guys excited for this? Is everybody excited? I want to hear a nice yes, chef, please and thank you. Oh, hi, Cesaro. Are you the Cesaro from Brawlhalla? Okay, let's get the rest of it inside. Beautiful. Okay, well, it's lovely to have you. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get the sauce finished up. So it's now nice and glossy, it's now nice and rich, it's now nice and beautiful. You can see that the sauce has really, really, truly almost become like a syrup. It's really, really thick, especially towards the edges. Guys, let's go ahead and finish this bad boy. And the more it cools, the thicker it's going to get as well. This sauce already has so much flavor. Let's take it over the top now. I am going to be going ahead and adding in my lovely, beautiful chipotle cream. So in all of it goes, make the whole thing nice and spicy and smoky and delicious. All of it inside, not too hot so we don't split the half and half accidentally. Okay, all of it in, all of it in, all of it in. Okay, that color is perhaps not the most appealing thing in the world, but that is okay because it has a lot of really, really beautiful flavor to provide for today. Okay guys, we add all of it on in. Really, really nice and smoky and delicious. There we go. Nice and spicy now as well. Let's go ahead and thoroughly incorporate all of it. Just want to make sure that we have no little teeny tiny lumps of the chipotles after all. We just want to get the whole thing nice and glossy and rich. And we might even finish it with some butter as well as some seasonings. I'm scraping everything inside, getting it all done. There you go. Oh, look at the gloss on that. Look at the sheen on this sauce, guys. You seeing this? You guys seeing the sauce? There you go. I'm just mixing it around. Again, I'm just getting rid of any of the clumps that could have possibly formed in this process. I am still considering doing a starch thickening. We'll deem if that's necessary or not. And the only thing now, guys, is I just want to cook out the raw taste of the chipotles. Okay? I just want to cook out the raw taste of them. I want to get them all beautifully infused into the sauce. Just get everything scraped, everything moving around, just like this. There you go. And now it's like slowly bubbling away. We don't want to hit it with a lot of heat, guys. We could risk splitting the half and half, which would be quite catastrophic, actually. And let's give it a little taste session. Maybe a little too runny, I don't know. Ooh. Guys, that is good. Oh my goodness. That, remember how I said spicy and smoky and creamy? That is doing exactly everything that it should be. That is an incredible sauce. Look at it bubbling away. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness. Guys, that is delicious. That is beautiful. Look at that sauce. Doesn't that sauce look good? Look at that thing. And you can see we have like a very slight protein skin forming. That's because of the gelatin. Guys, I think this sauce is actually perfect. It does not need any additional seasoning. The chipotles came with a lot of salt. That is just about done for us. Wow. That is incredible. That is so, so good. And this didn't even take any cream. This was just butter and half. That is flavorful, and that is meaty. And it's rich, and it's spicy, and it's smoky. Oh, we're not going to be doing any of that. Spaetzle is not served like that. We're not going to be doing any of that pasta water thickening nonsense. None of that. We're keeping it real simple. Guys, I think the sauce is done. I don't think it needs anything else. The last thing I'll hit it with, though, is some of the fresh herbs. So let's do the cilantro inside, and then, of course, a nice good bit of the parsley. Let's get that inside, guys, and that is going to be my lovely, incredible, smoky, chipotle, creamy sauce done with a chicken broth reduction. That was delicious. That was a very, very pleasant bite, everybody. I am really, really happy about how the way this came out. Wow. You truthfully, cannot go wrong with that. That's it. It's done. Let's go ahead and take it off the heat. And guys, let's begin the next stage, which is the mushroom cookery. I might have bitten... Oh, actually, let's just move this back here. I think I might have bitten off a little bit more than I would have liked to today, because I would have liked to, already go to the Spaetzle, but let's do the mushrooms. Mushrooms. Guys, we're going to be doing the wet cooking method. So let me explain something to you while I'm doing this. So let me explain, why are you might be asking me, why are we starting mushrooms on a dry, cold pan? Why are we about to add a couple of tablespoons of water into this pan? Well, let me go ahead and explain this to all of you right now. This is a little bit more of a contemporary, a little bit more of a recent innovation in mushroom cooking. All right, this is not something that people have always been doing. So let's talk about this really quick. I need you all to think about mushrooms for me. I need you all to think about for me the last time that you made mushrooms. And I need you all to remember for me what happens when you try to saute mushrooms in fat first. Let me already answer this question for you. Let me answer this for all of you right now. just gonna put a lid down, doesn't even have to be perfect. Here's what happens. Mushrooms, they're like sponges. They're super saturated with liquid. As soon as you put them onto the heat, they release a bunch of liquid at once. If you put a bunch of oil in there, you have almost no time to get any meaningful color on the mushrooms whatsoever. The first thing they do is they release a bunch of liquid. Then that liquid evaporates and then the mushroom goes in and it soaks in whatever is on the pan, fat included. If you were to go ahead and start the mushrooms in a fatty pan, just as Miss Trillian said, you're going to go ahead and get a bunch of really, really greasy mushrooms because it basically soaks up the fat. So here's what we do. We first started off in plain water. The water is a very nice way of just getting some heat into the mushrooms. That might be confusing because we're looking to dry them out, but if we started the mushrooms on a dry pan, they wouldn't heat evenly. The water helps them to steam. The reason why we do it with a lid is, again, we're building up that steam, we're building up that pressure inside, okay? And then, once the steam is all around, the mushrooms are gonna collapse, they're gonna release their liquid, we lift the lid, we let the water evaporate, and then we can add fat and begin the sauteing process. Does everybody understand? Can I please get a yes, chef? Please and thank you. So, it's a little bit complicated, but that is how we get the optimal, the optimized sauteed mushroom, everybody. That is how we get things done here. Okay, we don't mess around, we don't cut corners, we give everything the amount of time and love that it actually needs. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and stir my sauce one more time, just because it just looks that good. I'm really, really excited about the sauce specifically. That sauce, guys, killer. That has so much flavor from the chilies. That has so much flavor from the chipotles, guys. It's so simple, and yet it's so delicious. Although technical. A lot of my food is seemingly simple, but it can be oftentimes quite technical. So I'm just taking a second, guys, and I'm throwing in a couple of things into the dishwasher because remember, when you cook at home, you have to clean as you go. Does everybody understand? You clean as you go, and you'll have a lot less dishes to worry about later on. Make sure they have a nice empty sink or a nice empty dishwasher, ideally both, so you can just load things in as you're going about your day and getting things done. And then we can do the rest of the salad preparation while all of this is happening. So again, the first thing that we really need to do is we gotta bring that water, we gotta get those mushrooms collapsed. Right? We bring it to a boil, we collapse the mushrooms, we then remove the lid, right? You can already see that that water is bubbling away. Just let it go a little bit longer, just like that. And then I promise you, everything is just gonna take care of itself. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me? In the meantime, this would be a really, really good time to ask me because we do have a couple of seconds of downtime before we move on to the next thing. Is there anything else that we actually need to chop? I don't think so. I think I can just get rid of my cutting board as well in the meantime, which is nice. Just get a little bit more space on my table. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take my garlic press a brush through it. I could have probably done a mushroom sauce now that I'm thinking about it, but I would have first liked to do this is my first time doing a chipotle sauce like this, especially in this kind of a context, so I just wanted to keep it fairly simple and keep it separate. Okay guys, so my mushrooms are now officially boiling, they're officially collapsing, and now that they're collapsing, they're releasing a bunch of their own liquid here. So let's go ahead and just take off that lid now. Right? You can see that the amount of liquid in here has essentially doubled. All of that is the liquid from the mushrooms. They have collapsed in their texture, right? They've collapsed in their volume, and now it is time for us once again. Remember how I said the key of what makes a good cook is all in the moisture management. This, my friends, this is that moisture management that I was talking about. Moisture management is present in everything that you do in the kitchen. Even when you don't think it does, it always does. So guys, all of this now is the combination of the liquid and the mushroom liquid that is being released. We're cranking up the heat to a high because again, the same exact idea as the sauce. All that we need to do at this stage is just evaporate it all. Okay? And this lid is just gonna go back through this pot whenever we need it. And I'm just gonna get rid of all this. Lovely. And get this plate ready to go for us for today. Okay, beautiful. Where is my other spatula? There she is. And we're just flipping them around to make sure that they're evenly cooking here. But again, guys, this process of evaporation, we evaporate the liquid, and then once that pan is dry, we add in the fat and everything else that we wanted for sauteed mushrooms. We're keeping it simple. Yeah, I do like non-stick pan for a sauteed mushroom, and the reason why I prefer non-stick pan is this. So the mushrooms, they'll release, like, I want you all to take a look for a second, and I want you all to see and observe that this mushroom liquid isn't completely white. It's not completely clear. The mushrooms are releasing their own proteins and their own stuff into the stock as well. If we had a non-stick pan, if we had a regular pan, when this water evaporates, all those little proteins, all those little starches, all those little sugars, they stick to the bottom on a film, and they can make it really, really sticky and difficult to dislodge. Doing the sauteed mushrooms on a pan like this, it allows us to easier coat the mushrooms back in with whatever reduced, instead of worrying about them sticking and burning. So I wouldn't do like this wet mushroom technique on a regular stainless steel pan. You can, it's just a little bit more difficult, and there's a higher risk for something to actually go wrong. So again, I'm just throwing things into the dishwasher, getting that done, getting that out of the way. The mushrooms are boiling. Guys, let's go ahead, and finish up the salad. So remember how we salted those cucumbers? Is everybody paying attention? I need to hear a yes, chef, right now, please and thank you. Let's go back to the cucumbers. Ready to go for us. They have been waiting so patiently. And guys, I want you all to observe with your eyes. I want you all to see exactly how much of that cucumber liquid ended up coming out of them. So these cucumbers, you might be like, oh, Daramgar, what a plain looking cucumber. And then you do this. Guys, you see all of this liquid, all of this water that got pushed out of these cucumbers. All of this would have ended up in your salad, making it soggy. And that water, of course, is super, super salty. We have to get rid of it now. So, I'm gonna go ahead and dump out my waste bowl again. All of that liquid, guys. Let's get rid of every single last drop of the stuff. And I'm just gonna go ahead and grab a strainer, and let's get it all inside. Guys, take a look. All of this water is the water that we leached out. Remember, this is why we do this. You leach out all the water, the cucumbers won't be too salty. This liquid right here, way too salty. We take a bite. Now that's perfectly seasoned. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump this out so it's not touching the bottom. Okay, and we're just letting this go for a second. I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe off this bowl. That's how easy it is, guys. That is how easy to do this. And we just give the mushrooms another stir. Again, guys, once the water evaporates, then that's when we actually begin the real, true sauteing stage. Everything between now and then is just a test. Right, we're just evaporating the liquid. The mushrooms have reduced so much in their size. They've fully collapsed. They've released all their liquid. Now we're evaporating the stuff. Lovely. Okay, let's go ahead and wipe off that bowl. Okay. And then we'll gauge how much sour cream we actually have relative to this amount of cucumber. All right, and let's get all of this stuff. Guys, even more water is coming out of these cucumbers. We did just get the majority of it though. So let's get all of those cucumbers inside, nicely and beautifully drained. And now, remember, let's go in with my lovely red onions, right? Let's go in with my sour cream and my garlic. We might end up adding in some additional vinegar if we're feeling like it. And we might add in some mayonnaise as well. Because I'm already looking at this quantity of sour cream and I'm already in my mind going, I don't think this is enough. So again, very Eastern European salad right here, right? Sour cream base, fresh herbs, fresh parsley, that sort of deal. And I mean, you can use a spoon, but I think it would be much more optimal for me to use a hand, right? So let's glove up one more time. Let's go ahead and get that done. Does anybody have any cooking questions for me in the meantime? Get all that stuff off. There you go. Yeah, you know what? This actually looks like the right amount of sour cream. Now that I'm mixing it in, I think that looks totally fine. Let's get all of it mixed in, all those fresh herbs. Nice and simple. Guys, this is the kind of a salad that you just put into your fridge and then you eat throughout the week or the next few days. Right? That is why salads like this are so simple and so beloved. Okay? Really simple, really, really easy stuff. That's all that there is to it. I'm not gonna go too crazy I just wanted something nice and light and vegetal. And that looks like just the right amount of sour cream. Let's get all of it incorporated. Let's give this bad boy a little taste. Hot. Truthfully, delicious. Yeah, really simple, really delicious. I'm getting the parsley, getting the onions. In fact, you might be surprised, but now this needs another little bit of salt because we lost a lot of that salt in that initial salting process. So let's get the rest of it inside. And there you go. Really, really simple, really, really quick Eastern European salad, guys. Just mixing it all around, and there you go. It looks like a nightmare. It does not, Jack. You leave him alone. You get the garlic, you get the onions. It's everything you could ever want. Now let's head back to the stove. Let's inspect the mushrooms. How are they doing? Guys, the pan has now almost dried up, right? We've officially cooked out the majority of the liquid from the mushrooms. Okay? And now that we have done so, we can soon start looking at the fat. This is where you do risk beginning burning it though. There is no acid in the salad, so I don't want any acid in the salad. Just eating the rest of the dressing. There's no acid. And I think that's fine. Not every salad always needs an acid. Not every salad always needs a fat. Right? So I'm okay with that not having an acid in it. There's no specific reason why, other than I just kind of felt like it at the moment. Ooh, guys, that sauce looking beautiful. The mushrooms, they're about to get dry. It's gonna be great. Let me tie up my hair actually. There was no lemon juice. I wanted to do lemon juice and then I didn't have any. And I was like, I don't really want vinegar inside. The sauce looks good, guys. The mushrooms are just about done with the initial boiling process, and then we'll begin the sauteing stage. We'll be finishing it with lots of herbs. I'm gonna go ahead and get my salad transferred to the fridge. Clean up my station one more time. Just put away a couple of things. And then we gotta get the Spaetzle station ready to go for us today. You guys excited for this? I wanna hear a nice yes, chef. Please and thank you. Okay. Almost there, guys. You can see how dry the pan is becoming now, right? All of that water is cooking out. All of it has officially evaporated at the stage, and soon we will begin the proper sauteing process. This is why we do that collapsing. That is why we boil out all of the excess liquid. All of that for the sake of something like this. So, my friends, the last step is going to be after this is going to be actually cooking the Spaetzle itself. This is my Spaetzle batter that has been sitting here, that has been chilling out this whole time. Ready to go, nice and beautiful. It's going to be going through my Spaetzle tool. And so, we need to figure out exactly which vessel we'll be placing the finished Spaetzle in. And so, the typical approach is to use a colander. Use a colander so that it doesn't pool up with the liquid. So we're going to be using a colander. Oh, I already put my spider away. We actually do need the spider for this today. My favorite kitchen tool, the spider. And guys, really quickly, let's just go back to the stove. Right, the pan is dry, you can hear that sizzle now. This is where things get stuck and burn. So we first scrape everything off of the pan that we can. We scrape it off and we integrate it back into the mushrooms. And now we go in with your fat of choice. Today I'm just gonna be using some olive oil. You can use some butter, you can use a combination of the two. Some nice olive oil, and this, guys, is where we begin the real, true sauteing that we have been waiting this entire time for. And now the mushrooms have collapsed. They're in their final texture. This is where we get them nicely and beautifully browned. So, olive oil in. Now, a bunch of black pepper, freshly ground. And a nice big hit of salt, guys. Nice big hit of salt to make sure that my mushrooms are nice and thoroughly seasoned. And again, we're just scraping up the bottom in case there's any of that like residual liquid. And now, my friends, this is where we get a really beautiful, beautiful sauteed mushroom. Not greasy, not too oily. This is where they get some really, really nice color on it. And we'll finish them with the garlic, we'll finish it with the herbs, and we'll call it a day on those. Nice and simple. Okay. That's ready to go for us. Where is my cookie scoop? That's also ready to go for us. And I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the plastic wrap now, because it's no longer, you know. Okay, and we give this bad boy a little toss, guys. Look at these mushrooms. Look at that color on them. They're getting nice and beautiful. They're getting nice and sauteed now. That's exactly what I wanted them to look like, okay? We're building up that color now. We're building up that flavor. They're fully seasoned. Toss them with the olive oil. And they're not getting too greasy. They're not soaking up the oil or anything. Can you cook magic mushrooms? That sounds like a big stomachache, serious guy. Sounds unpleasant. Look at that. That is a beautiful sauteed mushroom. Okay. Let's go ahead and do, let's cook them for another second longer. Again, I want them to get nicely and beautifully golden brown at this stage. We're not looking to burn them, of course, but we actually do want to properly saute them, right? Let's just take out one of the mushrooms and see what they'll taste like. It's hot, especially because it's, you know, covered in hot oil. That's good. That is so simple. Guys, that is so delicious. That is just about ready to go for us. We don't need to brown it that much further. You can brown it as much as you would like. I'm just now going to go in with the garlic at this stage. In with the garlic. Mix it up. Break up the cluster. We want to make sure this is constantly moving. And then when we shut off the heat, we'll add in the parsley and call it a day. Right, we don't want to char the garlic. We don't want to burn it. We just want to get all the raw flavor of the garlic out. Right, we're mixing it up. And now, guys, we can just go ahead and shut off the heat. We'll let it cool down just a touch. Beautiful. Also, Ciara, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you, thank you. Also, guys, for those of you that haven't already done so, check out my Patreon if you would like to support the show. I'd love to be able to do this full time one day. And of course, any and all help would be appreciated. So you can type in exclamation mark Patreon if you'd like. Let's do a nice pinch of fresh herbs, not too much. I don't love overdoing it with the parsley. And now, guys, that is my lovely, golden, brown, delicious, sauteed mushroom. That's it. That's all that there is to it. Nice and easy. Whew. So I am going to go ahead and transfer this bad boy off the heat. I'm going to get this big pot of water on the stove now. My camera is going to flicker for a second, maybe. And guys, it is time for us to make the beautiful Spaetzle. Now is going to be the time. So, I'm going to get rid of this lid, and I'm going to walk you through all the process of how this actually gets done. Okay? This pan shouldn't be hot. Okay. So guys, here's the deal. Here's the idea. We're going to be using a little tool for the job today. Let me show off my favorite little Spaetzle tool. There's 3 forms that Spaetzle, these German dumplings, are traditionally done with. One of them is this almost cheese grater-like tool. We add the batter, and it pushes it into the pot when we do this. Okay? The second tool is there's almost like a little press, almost like a little extruder. Is everybody paying attention? I need a yes, chef. The third method is a cutting board, and people slice into it. This is the easiest home method in my opinion, and it's going to give us the product that we're looking for. We need 2 tools. We're going to need a silicone spatula, and we're also going to need a cookie scoop. I love a cookie scoop for batter because take a look. Batter, scoop, 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 and it just gets all of it out. Okay? So that is one of my favorite things in this case. Let's get this water up to a nice, big, aggressive boil. Okay? And roughly, I'm going to probably double check my timing. It's going to be about like 3 minutes as soon as it goes in. So let's go ahead. And again, this is the kind of a thing that there's a bit more margin of error than you would think. So guys, let's head to this. Let's go ahead and head to the stove. Here's all that we got to do together. This is at a nice big aggressive boil. All that we have to do is we just take our tool, get it ready to go for us over the pot of the boiling water, and then we're going to do a few of these big scoops, scoop, 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 and another one, and scoop, 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 scoop. And now guys, before the dough actually just ends up steaming like this, let me just go ahead and set this down really quickly. We take it and we move it inside of the pot, just like so. And it forms these lovely, teeny tiny Spaetzle. Okay, and this one kind of does suck because I feel like I easily spill with this one, but that's okay. Let's get all of it inside and all of it processed and all of it ready to go inside of my lovely pot. Push it all through, get all of it done, and now we don't want to leave it on because then it's just going to end up cooking the dough. So let's just push the rest through. Make sure that nothing else is dropping, and back onto the bowl it goes. And so guys, I believe roughly, if I do recall, this is going to be about like 3 to 4 minutes or so. Yeah, I love using a cookie scoop, guys. It is one of my favorite kitchen tools. I should probably check my timing, really until they're floating to the top, they're ready. So I think I might just float them all to the top and then, you know, boil them for like a minute. Something like that. Okay, and I am also going to get my spider ready, guys. This is the best tool to pick them up with, right? Just make sure that they're all, none of them are sticking to the bottom. They just take a little agitation, a little movement. Okay. Just like that, nice and easy. Beautiful. That's it. That's all that there really is to it, guys. Once they float, they are ready. I just find that sometimes I do get like a raw flour taste out of them. And so what I do is I just typically, now at this point, I do just cook them for like, you know, another 45 seconds. I think that would be good. And we'll pull them out. They're really simple. They're really easy. Again, they have a really pleasant texture. They have a really pleasant tootsomeness to them. 45 more seconds, and then we'll be pulling these bad boys out. And I'm just gonna get my station food that's ready to go. This is becoming a tiny bit of a mess here, but that is okay sometimes. And this is gonna be my scooping station. There you go. Lovely. Just like that, guys. That is just how easy it is to get Spaetzle done and ready to go. So much easier than fresh pasta. Yes, you do need to, you know, in this case, for this type of Spaetzle, use a special tool, but I think that's completely and totally okay. So my timer is about to go off and absolutely explode in my ear. Great. And now, guys, using the spider all at once, we pick it up, we take out some of the excess liquid from it, and into my plate it goes, onto my colander, excuse me, that I have set up here. Let's get each of these bad boys done and out of the boiling liquid. And again, I'm trying not to scrape up the sides because this is a non-stick pot for some reason, and thus a stainless steel device here. I don't really want to make any contact with the metal. Okay, guys, there you go. That is a perfect Spaetzle, nice and easy. So we have to do a couple of batches, and then we'll be all done and all ready to go. So the only thing that we really do want to do is occasionally we will just oil them in layers once they actually go into the colander, because they do tend to stick with each other. So again, guys, we're cranking up the heat. It's okay if we have a couple of scraps in there. I'm doing a drop, and I do truly mean a drop of oil. Some of it is going to get wasted, and I'm okay with that because I'm doing this in the colander. But I'm just moving it around. Beautiful. Guys, these are my lovely little Spaetzle. Wasn't that easy? Didn't I tell you that it was easy? I need another yes, chef, please and thank you. I need to make sure that all of you understand how easy this whole process is. So, once again, all that I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and get my Spaetzle tool ready to go. Get it on to this thing. I do wish I had another one that didn't, you know, spill over the sides, but that's like chill. That's fine. 1 scoop and 2 big scoops and maybe a little bit more. Okay, and now let's get all of that inside of the pot. So just move it and move it and move it and push it all through, nice and firm, guys. Get all of it pushed through. Go quick so that the dough doesn't really overcook on the bottom and makes the whole thing sticky and unpleasant. Okay, and that should be the majority of it all into the pot. There you go. Lovely. Let's just make sure that there's no additional drippage or anything. Get the last ones out over the bowl and bring it up to a boil, guys. Easy, right? Easy and simple. Okie dokie. And then after this, we'll just have one more batch to go. And once all of them float to the top, we will, just set a timer for 45 seconds. So I just agitate them a little bit in case any are stuck to the bottom or anything, right? Some of them do sometimes stick to the bottom. So a little agitation goes a long way with this. There you go. And now they're all roughly floating to the top. Let's give it 45 seconds and pull it out. I do want to have one to taste really quickly though. Guys, they're so good. They're so chewy. They have such a lovely toothsome. They have such a lovely bounce to them, right? The texture on these. The texture on these things is genuinely to die for. It is one of my favorite textures in food. It's one of my favorite textures in cooking. It's not an intentionally low boil. It just happened to lose a bunch of heat. So, it's like fine. It's not like bubbling and boiling and toiling because it just ended up cooling it down. And guys, this is just about done. This is just about ready for this other batch now. So let's turn off the timer. Okay, let's get everything going now. Just give it a little agitation, make sure nothing is sticking or anything, right? And now, get all of that water out, guys, because the water is gonna make them stick, it's gonna make them overcook. Strain it out, and into the bolio it goes. Next one. Beautiful. And let's get this last big scoop out of all of my lovely little Spaetzle. Okay, and I'm just mixing it around with already the existing amount of oil inside. Beautiful. Everybody, we have one last batch of Spaetzle. Is everybody ready for this? I need to hear another yes, chef. You guys are losing a little bit of energy on me. You guys are losing a little bit of steam. But this is exactly where we need it the most. We need to pull through this process. So let's get the tool back on once again. Let's get the rest of my lovely, gorgeous batter scooped inside. My spatula is now being a bit of a nuisance. So let's get rid of him. Okay, nice big scoop and nice generous scoop. All right, okay, and let's push it through. Let's push it through. We gotta keep on pushing, guys. Push it and push it and push it. Get all of it into the pot. There we go. Almost done. Push all of that batter all the way through, everybody. I've dripped down so much batter down the side of this pot because this is a poorly made tool, but that's okay. That's just fine. Okay? And that looks good. There we go. Guys, that is it. That's all that we needed to do for them. Oh, whoa. We are not looking at the side of that pot. We're not looking at the amount of drippage. Okay, that's it. And now the last thing is what we're going to do. We're going to once again bring this bad boy up to a boil, make sure that everything is floating to the top, and then we set another timer for 45 seconds or so. And then that's it, and that's done. I'm going to go ahead and get all of my Spaetzle tools and stuff, all of it soaking in some nice hot water so that it doesn't dry out, because cleanup afterwards is probably the most annoying part of this whole thing. I will not show you guys how much it dripped. You can find a tool that does not drip. It just so happens that I think mine was fairly poorly designed. So there's that to it. Mine was not designed with that in mind. It was just probably kind of thrown together, but that's okay. All right, guys. Guess what? The Spaetzle have all finished cooking. They have all finished boiling. Let's go ahead and fish out the last of them. Get all of them out, my friends. Let's rescue them. Let's free my Spaetzle. Last one's going in. Beautiful, gorgeous, nice and chewy, nice and thick. That is what I'm talking about. Okay, and the last of it. Let's shut off the heat. Everybody, we have done it. We have made all the Spaetzle for today. And let me show you my incredible creation. Let me show you this bad boy. Take a look. Take a look, my friends. This is such an easy, such a simple homemade pasta. Nice and chewy, nice and delicious. It holds up to a sauce so well. Look at the ridges. Look at the texture of it. right? Look at the texture, look at all those different ridges. That is what holds onto a sauce exceptionally well. So my friends, I believe it is time for us, let's plate everything. Let's get everything nicely and beautifully plated. And that will start with a nice, generous spoonful of my Spaetzle. That is the base, that is the start of the show for today. Okay, a bunch of that Spaetzle. Okay, and now let's go ahead and spoon all of that lovely sauce. I'm going to just get rid of this little thing really quickly. And I'm just going to move this aside. Guys, this is my lovely, lovely, lovely sauce, my Chipotle cream sauce. Let's go ahead and get some of that on. What am I gonna use? Am I just gonna use this like a spoon for this? I think I'm just gonna use a spoon for this. Oh, ignore that sound. Mamma mia. I should not have scraped it up like that. Yeah. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get some of my lovely, rich Chipotle sauce. It almost looks like a ketchup from this angle, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. My plating today is kind of horrendous, but that's okay. The spoon I'll be eating this with? Okay. My plating, guys, let's not worry about my plating today. Let's not worry about the plating. And then I'm also gonna go ahead and get some of these lovely, freshly sauteed mushrooms onto the bowl as well. My plating, don't worry about my plating, guys. Don't you sweat it. Don't you sweat it. Today I didn't really try with the plating. Okay, let's get all of it soaked up in a delicious Chipotle sauce. Yeah, that plating, guys, not amazing. Today, is brutal. But we've done it. We have made everything here from scratch. I'm gonna have this out a little bit later. Today's stream is going on a touch longer than I would have liked it to. I do have something to do in the evening. So let's do a little recap session. Guys, we made this incredible herb Spaetzle. We blanched some fresh herbs, some cilantro, some parsley, blanched it, blended it down with some milk, with some eggs, mixed into some flour with some seasoning. We made this incredible Chipotle sauce using a bunch of chicken stock, some garlic, some shallots, some butter, cooked it all down, finished it with a bunch of pureed chipotles and some half and half and fresh herbs. Made some sauteed mushrooms and the Spaetzle. We did it over some boiling water. And this, my friends, is my meal. Hot. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. That is so delicious. It is so creamy. It is spicy. It's smoky. The Spaetzle is chewy. The mushrooms are cooked to perfection. Beautifully sauteed. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Another bit. That is excellent. That is creamy. It's smoky, it's salty, it's chewy, it's meaty. There's so much meaty flavor in here from all that chicken stock, from the mushrooms. That's incredible. No drink, I'll have some water after. And that's it. Guys, that is actually going to do it for today's stream. It's a little spicy though. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Every Wednesday, every Friday, every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern time on each of them. We're not going to rage jack. We're just going to get out of here. If you'd like to support the Patreon, you can type in !Patreon. I'm not going to forget about the cucumber salad trash can cat mom. I totally forgot about it. !Patreon if you'd like to support the streams and you would like to help me be able to do this full time. Thank you all for being here. I will see all of you this Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. I hope you all have a really good rest of your Wednesday night. Thank you all for being here. We'll fix all the technical difficulties that we had in the beginning. And I will see all of you then.